my quick take on it, why they didn't go in that direction.
On the blue line tonight, TJ Brodie, as mentioned, will not be available. He is with Matthews and out with the flu. That leaves Riley and Liljegren to play on the top pairing, Lagesson and McCabe on the second pairing, and Benoit and Timmins will round out the blue line. Big spot here for Liljegren, who makes his return to the lineup after missing the last 17 games with a high ankle sprain.
Yeah, well, we're talking about Lagesson being on the second pair, and I think they've accounted of themselves decently, but yeah, you don't expect it to be a core four, but that just shows when you are depleted with injuries. So that's kind of Liljegren is nobody gets rushed into the lineup anymore. It doesn't happen anymore, okay? You got to get appropriate medical clearance. So that's a bonus that a healthy but probably rusty Timothy Liljegren's going to be needed to be a big factor tonight. So probably more than he would have expected, particularly now with Brodie out.
So we don't get the high-profile matchup. It won't be Sidney Crosby and Austin Matthews and Kyle Dubas's return with Brad Treliving watching on, but it's still the Penguins and the Maple Leafs tonight, with Martin Jones getting the call for the Maple Leafs. An investment quickly here, Gord, that could pay off. That's a high-end third goaltender. That might be an oxymoron, but a high-end third goaltender might be Martin Jones, and it might be the thing that keeps the Maple Leafs afloat here while Joseph Woll is out with injury.
And really fortunate they got him through waivers the start of the season. That was a bit dicey. So, hey, the team's now depth in goal has been important. We saw Vegas do it, Colorado do it, win Stanley Cups. That's what he was brought in for, and now it's kind of showtime. He may be the number one goalie right now, okay? He comes up with a big game tonight. When Joe Woll's out, he may be the guy to take it for a while.
It's the dad trip for the Pittsburgh Penguins. It was the dad trip this week for the Toronto Maple Leafs. We've been debating all show whether or not that gives you some sort of boost. The Maple Leafs will hope that that's not the case for the Pittsburgh Penguins tonight. On the other side, we will continue teeing up the game. It's the Penguins and Maple Leafs. You'll be back for Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Hi, it's Catherine from Great Canadian Meat. What makes a great gift? Well, I think we can all agree that a gift that's homemade is a great gift. A gift that's the same shape as a stocking, that's important. A gift they can eat? Definitely. And if they like to share, a gift you can eat too. Well, that settles it. Our Great Canadian Meat salami and pepperoni sticks are the perfect gift and a perfect addition to your charcuterie board. Pick up Great Canadian Meat at our store in Whitby or online at greatcanadianmeat.com.
Truck.ca. So when you gotta move, all moving day. Think 2-minute truck.ca. Cause all of us movers are not the same. So that's our company name, 2-minute truck.ca. We're lots of men with lots of trucks, so give us a call today.
Move up to Heathwood. Hi, I'm Hugh Herron. Experience a new level of luxury at Williamsburg Green. Your new single-family home will have all the modern features you dream about, even a fully finished lower level. Kitchener's newest master plan community with bike trails, parks and a new library. Williamsburg Green has it all. It's time to move up to Heathwood. Learn more at heathwood.com.
There are many peculiar words in the English language. Words like salivigant, peregrinate, nemophilus, peripatetic, and conviviality. Yet, there is no word for getting the most out of winter in your Subaru, thanks to symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive and X-Mode. Until now. We call it unhibernate. As in, while your neighbors stay home, you'll be unhibernating all winter in your Subaru. So peregrinate to your local Subaru dealer today, and welcome to Uncommon Winter Confidence.
Find your holiday mood with hand-picked music from Hallmark Channel Radio for cozying up.
I'm dreaming.
Spirited fun.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
Or feeling the love.
Last Christmas, I gave you my heart.
Let Hallmark Channel Radio's holiday mixtapes be the backdrop to your festive journey. All season long on the SiriusXM app, included in all trials and popular plans. Just search Hallmark Channel Radio mixtapes.
The best player analysts and insiders live on NHL Network Radio. Mike Johnson.
5-on-5 defensive game for Tampa is getting to the point, Gord, where it is a concern. And it's not just because Vasilevsky hasn't played the entire season. They're giving up almost 4 goals a game. No matter how good your offense is, that's not going to be able to be sustainable.
Get the latest opinion and analysis you need on the home of hockey, NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
It's between the Ken Hitchcock dots. And the Sens are too loosey-goosey there. They talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk. Ottawa's not like that. And until that part really improves, I don't believe they'll be a playoff team. They'll wow you. They'll wow the fans. They'll win or lose 5-4. But right now, they're middling right now. They're a middling hockey club.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
If you're a soccer fan, you know that this music means one thing. The Champions League is on Sirius XM FC.
Hat-trick for Erling Haaland. Kane scores!
The top teams from around Europe are battling for club soccer's holy grail.
Real Madrid do what they do best. What a start for Inter!
Hear all the top Champions League matches all tournament long on Sirius XM FC 157 and streaming on the Sirius XM app.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
The biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind Ristolainen, walks in, put it between his legs, shoots it, score!
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM.
Join me, Scott Laughlin, and Gord Stellick, along with former NHLer Mike Johnson for NHL Morning Skate, weekday morning, 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
Hi, this is Ray Hudson, and for all the biggest matches from club soccer's holy grail, the UEFA Champions League, tune in to Sirius XM FC 157.
Hockey lives here.
Suzuki sweeps it. There's a chance. Rebound, Caulfield shoots and scores.
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM. The best hockey lives here.
Barnes gets it back. Stick handles to the backhand. Moves in front. Score!
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM.
CA. This is Molson Leafs Hockey.
We're about to bring the world right now. Sound the alarm.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network. There's a Molson with your name on it.
Yeah, it's not odd to me, I'll be honest. It's literally the first time that's entered my mind today. We talked about this when we were in Pittsburgh. You don't coach against general managers. We're diving into video. We're preparing to play against their team. All that other stuff is you guys are talking about, but it's not on my mind.
Welcome into Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. The Pittsburgh Penguins in town to face the Toronto Maple Leafs on a Saturday night. It's Sidney Crosby, and it's not Austin Matthews. Austin Matthews out with the flu along with TJ Brody. So the Maple Leafs dealing with a short deck tonight, but it's still going to be a great game. Sidney Crosby coming to town and Kyle Dubas coming to town. Sheldon Keefe just said, it's not really a big deal. I haven't thought about going up against Kyle Dubas. But if we're doing the narrative thing, Gord, who does this game mean the most to, do you think?
It means a lot to Kyle Dubas. And he popped by our booth, which he had never done as general manager. Very, very friendly. And I mentioned earlier, I talked about his kids being involved. They moved from the Toronto to the Pittsburgh youth programs. And an ex-Leaf named Rocky Saganuk, people of a certain age would remember that, very popular, runs that youth program. So he's in charge of Dubas' kids there. But what Sheldon keeps saying is when the pucks drop, people do forget. You really do. Whatever noise there was about a trade or a player coming back, and you don't coach against general managers. But there's got to be, the only reason Kyle Dubas is here is because of Brendan Shanahan. I don't know if that relationship's fractured or it's fine, but the only reason Sheldon Keefe is here is because of Kyle Dubas, right? So there's always going to be that kind of connection. But when the puck drops, you don't have Austin Matthews tonight, man, and you're going against Sidney Crosby playing like he's found the fountain of youth. You got a big challenge all of a sudden against the Pittsburgh Penguin team that's not been very good, but it's been really good their last couple of games.
Yeah, they definitely turned things around, at least on the power play. It was a real sore subject for them, but they broke out in a big way with their dad's trip ongoing. The dads will be here in Toronto as well. It is Armed Forces Appreciation Night. We're going to go live to that in about 9 minutes. We're going to take the in-arena feed, and that'll take you to puck drop. But until then, obviously there's a spotlight here on the general managers. Kyle Dubas's job in Toronto was a pretty good one. I mean, this team had a lot of success with Kyle Dubas, but couldn't get over the hump. Now he's trying to get another core over the hump in Sidney Crosby, Evgeni Malkin, Chris Letang, Al. But let's focus in on Treliving for a second here. There was a lot of narrative points coming into his tenure. One of them was hey, how is he going to win over the fans? How is he going to win over the people that work underneath him? Kyle Dubas was so loved in this building with this organization, but Brad Treliving has come and steadied the waters. This team is performing at a reasonable level. There are warts, and we can discuss those things over the course of the show, but it seems like Brad Treliving has quieted the noise, and if quieting the noise was the first objective, which isn't a bad first objective given how noisy it was, I think he's done a pretty good job.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, by the way, Kyle Dubas did fire the Marley staff the day he got fired himself, or left himself. You remember, got fired himself, so he did make some moves right up to end. So I'm sure they weren't happy on that particular day. But, Kyle was handed a really great handoff from Lou Lamoriello.
Oh, yeah.
He got that team to that certain level. And Brad Treliving's getting, and I'm giving Kyle credit here, a lot of that as well. So he's inheriting a Maple Leaf team that is a legitimate Stanley Cup contender, kind of spinning their wheels, not going any deeper in the playoffs, which has been the problem, the mystery. So he's got that core, and it's basically, intact. On the Pittsburgh side, they broke down last year. They had a chance to get in, they didn't, which is unlike a team that's won 2 Stanley Cups in recent years. So they think they have one more kick at it. A lot of people, including myself, question that. But Kyle Dubas took the job knowing there's the pressures. They said, no, we're not going to rebuild. We want one more parade. And we think we got a kick at it the next year or two as long as we have those big guns under contract. So he made the more dramatic moves, and I think he's got the bigger challenge in that regard.
There is some irony to Kyle Dubas going from Toronto to Pittsburgh in that, there was a bit of an autonomy question here. Like, is he making all the decisions? Does he get to do exactly what he wants to do with this organization? Well, that's not really the case in Pittsburgh. Mike Sullivan is unbelievably important to that franchise. Sidney Crosby, of course, is way ahead on the corporate hierarchy. Evgeni Malkin is somewhat Teflon. Chris Letang, the same. There's only so much Kyle can do, and he did a lot in the offseason. The risk-reward with bringing in Erik Karlsson, how would you assess that fit so far?
More risk, less reward. And we all get jaundiced because he's such a likable guy and he's such a skilled offensive player. But and I know San Jose's eating a little bit of the contract, not a lot, and they did dump some dog contracts. Like, he did a good move, I thought, in that regard. But it's to get you to the promised land, that one guy. I mean, to me, Riley Smith is more that one kind of useful player, and Ryan Graves as a depth defenseman. So, Erik Karlsson, that's a sexy trade. Norris Trophy winner and that, but and it's proven right now that Chris Letang is a better D. Chris Letang's having an awesome season. He's been a way better D than Erik Karlsson is about trying to find that fit, just like trying to find that fit in San Jose when Brent Burns was there, and when the two of them were there. It just wasn't happening.
Just as a quick aside, I always thought it was Kyle Dubas that didn't allow the Maple Leafs to not wear buckets in warm-up. I always thought it was, it's Kyle Dubas' call, right? He's the general manager of the team. He makes the decisions. We just saw a video of Jeff Carter got hit on a rebounded shot in warm-up, bloodied over his eye, not wearing a helmet in warm-up. So I guess we're seeing some of the benefits of that rule for the Maple Leafs on the flip side here. As much as there's excitement and there's intrigue around Kyle Dubas' return, what really gets me excited about coming to this rink tonight is seeing Sidney Crosby. We've talked a lot on our shows on Sportsnet 590 The Fan about the athletes of your lifetime. Sidney Crosby is at the front of the list for me. Sidney Crosby's goal at the 2010 Olympics, the biggest moment of my sporting lifetime so far. He is the athlete that will define a generation. He is partly responsible for maybe saving the NHL, at least if you ask Alexander Ovechkin. What does it mean to you seeing Sidney Crosby tonight?
Yeah, it's funny. As I get older, I find it even more special. Because when you're a kid, it's that adulation, but now it's more the appreciation of the incredible skill. And in my lifetime, I can go back to Bobby Orr. I'm very biased about Borje Salming, but I'll move it more modern and just have Wayne Gretzky, Connor McDavid, Sidney Crosby, Mario Lemieux. And it's fun. Just 2 from Edmonton, 2 from Pittsburgh, and then you got Alexander Ovechkin and Austin Matthews and Mark Messier and Eric Lindros and a few others in that regard. So all of them, playing here matters. Okay, they've always played well. Like they know the big stage, right? And it wasn't in their day 1 of 21 stops for Sidney and Wayne. It was a big stop. Now of 32 teams, it's a big stop for those guys.
A point tonight for Crosby can elevate him to 13th, sole position of 13th all time in league scoring. But it's another player that does more damage to the Maple Leafs, and that's Evgeni Malkin. That brings us to our player to watch, presented by Bet365. Visit the app for the latest odds and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus. Ontario only. Play responsibly. Evgeni Malkin is the active leader in points per game versus the Maple Leafs. You got to lay a lot of juice for just 1 point, so why don't we do 2, closer to the average of 1.55 points per game. 2 points for Malkin tonight pays plus 270. 3 points pays plus 850. Why is Evgeni Malkin, Gord, such a lead killer?
Yeah, over in Russia, maybe he grew up the same kind. He's just, again, when the Leafs weren't a real physical team as well, because he's a power forward in that. A lot was power plays with Sidney as well, because Sidney is number 5 all time. 2, 3, 4, by the way, Patrick Kane, Connor McDavid, Alexander Ovechkin. So we're talking rarefied air about the top 5 players, average points per game. But he had that one playoff when they won the Stanley Cup that he kind of showed like Malkin was the guy and won the Conn Smythe Trophy. And Sidney's been excellent against the Leafs, but Malkin almost has played that level generally against the Toronto Maple Leafs every game he's played.
Important lineup notes. Martin Jones will make the start for the Toronto Maple Leafs ahead of Ilya Samsonov. Timothy Liljegren returns after a 17-game absence. He'll play on the top pairing with Morgan Riley in place of TJ Brodie, who, like Matthews, is out with the flu. And the Matthews void will be filled, I guess, in part by Max Domi. Max Domi's going to move up in the lineup tonight, play with Mitch Marner and Matthew Nyes. Gord, this is a big opportunity for Max Domi in a big spot against, maybe you'll see a lot of Sidney Crosby, to take advantage of being elevated into a top 6, playing with a fellow former London Knight in Mitch Marner.
Yeah, Tyler Bertuzzi got that earlier on, playing with the better players and that, and mixed results, but 100% right. Like a chance to be on one of the big 2 lines, and play with an elite player. And quite often that's like we always talk about Sidney Crosby, that Patrick Hornqvist was the right kind of guy. It's not that easy always to play with an elite player, but Max has been in the league enough to have that figured out and also to know this is an opportunity. You're not going to get many of them. Austin Matthews doesn't get the flu very often to hopefully seize that tonight against the Pittsburgh Penguins.
And we get to see a unit that was maybe the best trio, at least in terms of underlying data we've seen all year. Tyler Bertuzzi, John Tavares, William Nylander has been a smash hit for the Maple Leafs in the times that Sheldon Keefe has used it. It's been a great season for William Nylander. It's been an improvement here for Tyler Bertuzzi, who's getting his feet under him. But John Tavares, he just continues, even in maybe somewhat sheltered minutes, to put up points in the second to final year of this contract. Tavares is still very, very productive just this week, hitting 1,000 points for his career. It might have to be a big night for that unit, Bertuzzi, Tavares, and Nylander.
Yeah, he's got to be the Austin Matthews kind of figure tonight if they're going to win this against Crosby and the Pittsburgh Penguins.
We are a couple minutes, I think, still from the start of the Armed Forces Appreciation Ceremony. I think we're moving towards it actually now. We'll keep it here for a second just to make sure that we're good to go. But yeah, Martin Jones getting the start here for the Maple Leafs. Liljegren returns after 17 games, and Austin Matthews won't be in the lineup. Let's set it to the 18th annual Canadian Armed Forces Appreciation Night ceremony at Scotiabank Arena.
Sacrifices and dedication. This evening, we celebrate and recognize the centennial of the Royal Canadian Air Force. We are proud to welcome over 100 members of the RCAF in attendance, including tonight's ceremonial puck dropper. A member of the RCAF for 33 years, he was posted with the Skyhawks, completing over 1,600 military parachute descents. His first mission took place in 2008 only 14 days after graduating from the Search and Rescue Technician course, when he parachuted into a plane crash to rescue 7 injured people. In 2017, the call came to evacuate an ailing man from a fishing vessel in severe weather conditions off the coast of Nova Scotia. While he was preparing to extract the man by helicopter, the hoist cable became tangled in the boat's hydraulics. But against strong winds and dangerous conditions, he was able to remove the man and save his life. For risking his own life, he was awarded the Medal of Bravery. Please welcome, from 413 Squadron in Greenwood, Nova Scotia, Chief Warrant Officer Stephen Bates. To deliver the ceremonial puck for tonight's puck drop, please welcome the Skyhawks. Descending from 12,500 feet in the air to deliver tonight's ceremonial puck, please welcome parachute rigger specialist, Master Corporal Trevor Nealon of the Skyhawks. We now ask that Sidney Crosby of the Pittsburgh Penguins and John Tavares, captain of your Toronto Maple Leafs, join together at center ice for tonight's ceremonial puck drop. From all of us, thank you to all members of the Canadian Armed Forces for all that you have done and continue to do in service of our country. We now ask that you please rise if you're able to. Remove your hats and join Natalie Morris, accompanied by 16th Wing from Gordon, in the singing of our national anthems.
All right, the Maple Leafs are 33-19-3 since 2016 with Austin Matthews out of the lineup. They'll have to make it 34 without 34 tonight. Joe Bowen and Jim Ralph have the call for the first period. After the break, you're listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
This league's crazy right now. This thing is all up in the air.
When it happens in the NFL, we're reacting to it on Sirius XM NFL Radio.
Travis Kelce. This dude sees the game differently and at a much higher level than a lot of people out there running around playing.
Get closer to the game with interviews with players, coaches, and executives.
Hall of Fame quarterback Troy Aikman joining us.
Dak has always had all of the intangibles, and it's why I've always had so much respect for him.
Nobody covers the game like Sirius XM NFL Radio, Channel 88.
24/7 hockey talk.
One of the greatest goaltenders of all time. Patrick Waugh, when you put your hands up, did you know at that moment that you were done?
No, I did not. Unfortunately, it happened. Just gave me a chance to have a fresh start somewhere else and be traded to Colorado was a good opportunity. Sometimes you need that little, change, and it was welcome for me.
Sirius XM, NHL Network Radio. Sirius XM 91. And on your schedule with the Sirius XM app. The Point with Boomer Gordon.
18 months ago, I had New Flyers head coach John Tortorella. And I asked him what he was worried about the club, and he said, I don't like the room. We have a bad room. And I'm like, you haven't even coached this team yet. A year and a half later, John Tortorella loves his room. He loves this team, and he loves that they compete every night.
Points with Boomer Gordon. 1 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. Under review.
And if someone says, well, he's good in the room, you know what?
XM app. Under review.
And if someone says, well, he's good in the room, you know what? They don't have a good in the room stat in the standings. I've yet to find that category. It's one of the most overplayed things. They better be good in the room. That's the least you better bring when you join a National Hockey League team.
What's up, Leafs fans? Another awesome night here on TSI. Thank you to each and every one of you for hanging out with us. Please don't forget to hit that like button, as it helps bring more Leafs fans into the chat. The more the better. A big shout out to our insiders and VIP members. Your support is truly appreciated. I cannot explain to you what it means for this community. Please consider joining our community. It's only 99 cents a month. I made it as low as possible so that we can get more and more people joining our community. Awesome member exclusive emojis in the chat during these Leafs games, and add your name to the scroll down below. Anyways, enough of the necessary evils to keep growing this amazing Toronto sports community and Maple Leafs community. Back to Leafs hockey. Go Leafs go. I'll see you guys in the chat. Peace.
Sirius XM FC.
Hat-trick for Erling Haaland. Kane scores!
The top teams from around Europe are battling for club soccer's holy grail.
Real Madrid do what they do best. What a start for Inter.
Hear all the top Champions League matches all tournament long on Sirius XM FC 157 and streaming on the Sirius XM app.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
The biggest names in the game.
Holy Grail, the UEFA Champions League. Tune in to Sirius XM FC 157.
The best hockey lives here.
Burns gets it back. Stick handles to the backhand. Moves in front. Score!
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM
and the Leafs Radio Network.
The Leafs and the Pittsburgh Penguins collide as the Toronto Maple Leafs trying to rebound from a game that was rather unique the other night, falling behind 5-0, rallying in the third period to tie it, only to lose in overtime. But this is maybe my favorite night of the year, and it is Armed Forces Night, and we are joined in the booth with Renee Van Kessel, no relation to Phil, who's still looking for employment in the National Hockey League, but she is an honorary colonel in the RCAF. We're going to get her on at the start of the second period and talk a little bit about the 100th anniversary of the RCAF and all of the things that are going on with that kind of organization, and it's a delight to have her here with us, so we'll get to chat with her during our game as we watch the Leafs and the Penguins collide here this evening. No Austin Matthews in the lineup. The flu bug that has been rampaging through the Leaf dressing room has caught up with the Leafs goal-scoring whiz, and we're underway. The Leafs to the right, Penguins to the left as it's drilled into the zone by Ryan Graves, and around on the boards. It'll be played back of the Toronto goal and fed back to the point. Long shot taken there by Letang was blocked, and a lead pass looking for Yarncrook was just out of his reach. Penguins back in their own zone. They have really struggled, but the last two games looks like they might have things, Ralphie, kind of getting back together again. Now a turnover here, and Martin Jones comes out to play it away. Played off the boards by the Leafs to the blue line, but not out. Then Gregor launches it high to center ice. Bouncing puck in over the line. 2-on-1 for the Leafs and a shot. And that was stopped by Tristan Jarry. Played by Malkin up the boards, but not out. Nylander turning. Ran into Malkin. The puck comes back to Willie. Nylander working into the corner with it again. Still with it. Centered in front. Tavares jamming at it. And it went wide of the net and back into the near corner. Penguins back the other way. Pustanainen gets a shot away, a pass on the right wing side, and it went right past everybody, including Jones, in behind him and out the near side. Teams with good scoring chances early on here. Bertuzzi trying to work the boards against Crosby, gets it down into the Pittsburgh zone. Letang, the veteran, getting it up on the wing. Played to the line and in. Gunsel goes in around back of the net, centering pass that Domi intercepts, and Max Domi comes to center ice. Domi ahead for Nyes, got around the defense, in a goal, score! Max Domi sets up Matthew Nyes Nyes, and a pretty backhand.
With Austin Matthews out of the lineup, Max Domi gets bumped up to this line with Matthew Nyes. But, Joe, if you go back to a game in Tampa earlier in the year, Domi and Nyes were put together. Nyes scored 2 in the third period to send it to extra time, which the Leafs won, both set up by Max Domi. So we might be seeing a little magic rekindled with Domi and Nyes back on the same line.
Depth is an important aspect of any team that is successful, and all of a sudden you see that Max gets bumped up because of the illness, and nice to get a little confidence builder right off the hop, and he did just there as the Leafs volleyball it out into the center ice area. John Ludwig taking it back into the Pittsburgh zone, gets it ahead. Lars Eller coming through neutral ice, played it in on the right wing. Ludwig with it again, got it down into the corner. Hinostroza round back of the net, stolen there, and then backhanded out at center ice by Nick Robertson. 7th goal of the season for Matthew Nyes, who is out of the infirmary after being felled on the road trip. Didn't play in New York as well as the game here. And now an icing charge coming after being felled on the road trip. Didn't play in New York as well as the game here. And now an icing charge coming against Toronto.
And for Matthew Nyes, his first goal in 6 games. And that's not including the 2 that he missed. The last time he scored would have been 4 weeks ago when the Leafs were in Pittsburgh, when he and Tyler Bertuzzi both beat Tristan Jarry in the first 10 minutes. And one thing about the Penguins, I mean, it's the offense that has been the struggle. Defensively, they've been outstanding. 5th in the league. 5th best in goals against this year.
And if you sat at the beginning of the season and put out a piece of paper and said things that we have to worry about, how far down the list would you have gotten to offense? Or, for that matter, power play?
Well, what's scary is Sidney Crosby is on pace for another 50-goal season. It would be only the 2nd of his career.
Now here's Lagesson bringing it in on the left wing for the Maple Leafs. Rolled it to the side of the net. It was tipped there by Camp, who was headed for the front of the goal. The puck in the far corner. Dug out now by Riley Smith, and he'll play it back, and Evgeni Malkin will start out with it as he drops it off. And back of the goal it goes once more. Played up on the wing at center. And now down into the Leaf end, and Camp will go back. David Camp off a stick and in deep into the Pittsburgh end. Round back of the net, Erik Karlsson got it up on the wing. Pittsburgh sends it out. Possible 2-on-1 here, but a rolling puck was down into the corner. And then a real sharp angle shot that Jones, all he had to do is hug the post. Kept alive now for Letang. Shot partially blocked. Kicked ahead, and now here's Gregor sending it off on the wing for Riley. Riley's going to send a bouncing puck in that is easily steered into the corner by Tristan Jarry, and the Penguins get the puck back out into the center ice area. Again, it is shot right back in again by Gregor. Hustling in after it is Max Domi. Tried to flip it in front of the net. It goes to the far corner. Lagesson pinches, but has Nyes back there to back him up. The puck comes back out at center, and the Leafs are right back in. Marner in for Nyes, and a wrist shot went off a stick and went wide. Rebound into the corner for Domi. Domi is knocked down. Nyes knocks down the knocked down player. The puck is still free. Now here's Nyes taking the gloves off. John Ludwig and Matthew Nyes are going to throw punches at one another. Down go both players. That was rather interesting.
Well, it'll be interesting to see if Nyes is going to get the instigator here. We saw it recently where Jake McCabe administered a big hit. There was no penalty. A fight ensued, and there was no instigator. And yet, you know exactly why it happened. And to be honest, if you go by the rules, Matthew Nyes should get the instigator and a misconduct in this.
Well, let's wait and see.
Pittsburgh number 7, Toronto number 23.
Nope.
Okay, now to me,
Kendrick Nicholson and Jake Brink are the referees tonight.
To me, I don't like the call. I didn't like it with McCabe, and I'm trying to think of who fought him after a big hit a couple of weeks ago when the Leafs were in. Because we know who instigated the fight. It was Matthew Nyes because of the hit against Max Domi. But the Leafs will take it.
Sherwood with Nashville.
Well, Sherwood, yeah. And the hit was right in front of the Leaf bench.
Yep.
And they ended up fighting right in front of the Leaf net. So there appears to be a lack of consistency with this call. Like we said, everybody know on the ice, everybody in this building knows exactly why. Everybody in this building knows exactly why Matthew Nyes initiated or instigated the fight. And I don't know what Sheldon Keefe is saying to the officials right now. He appears to be saying maybe that he thought it was a high stick.
But with 4:57 played in the first period, Matthew Nyes is 1 assist away from your Gordie Howe hat trick.
Yeah. I was going to say, I guess the earliest it could be is, the first 6 minutes of a game?
I would think.
Well, you got to have the 5 in there.
Got to have the
early.
5 in there somewhere, yeah. So Ludwig and Nyes.
Yeah, Ludwig's stick did come up, but it didn't do a lot of damage.
No. Hinnis throws it in on the right wing. Shot went wide of the Leaf goal. Karam's back to the left point. Kept alive by Pittsburgh. Shot from an angle there. Rolls in. Good play in front of the net by Benoit. And now Benoit gets into a little bit of push and shove. Back up against the end boards. And for some unknown reason, the animosity is rather high here this evening, Mr. Ralph.
It was Lars Eller, I believe, that Benoit gave a couple of cross checks to while protecting goalie Martin Jones. Martin Jones, by the way, getting the win at Madison Square Garden against the Rangers. You got to like when a goalie gets an opportunity and the team scores for him. We got a penalty here. All right. These are going to be coincidental as well. But you like Benoit, loose puck in front. Give a couple of cross checks, get him out of there. Lars Zeller responds, and they're both going to be gone for 2. So a little 4-on-4 action as the penalty box gets a little fuller, with Nyes in there, as well as Ludwig serving their 5-minute majors for fighting.
5:19, the time of the penalties. We've had a little bit of everything going on here in the early start of this one. A 1-0 Toronto lead. Back to the point.
For fighting.
5:19, the time of the penalties. We've had a little bit of everything going on here in the early start of this one. A 1-0 Toronto lead. Back to the point it comes. Long shot. Blocked. Here's Karlsson looking for a loose puck. It comes back to the blue line. Another shot. Karlsson had it blocked, and it's pushed out into the center ice area. Karlsson bringing it right back now for Pittsburgh. Had it knocked off his stick. Good play by Yarncrook to free it up. And now Morgan Riley, being hounded from behind, is able to push it ahead to Marner. Marner has to go off his stick to the far side. Into the corner it goes. Liljegren jumping into the rush. He is back from a high ankle sprain and playing in his first game. As he heads to the bench in his first game. And now here are the Nylander chasing after Karlsson, forcing him to play it deeper into Pittsburgh territory. 1-0 in favor of the Maple Leafs on a goal by Matthew Nyes. In over the line is Letang. Got around the defense and then just lost the puck at the top of the goal crease. The Leafs get it back out into center ice, and it is chipped back in now by Pittsburgh.
I don't know whether he lost it or if he thought maybe Riley Smith had stuck in behind and he was just trying to set him up for the tap-in.
Brought in over the line by Toronto. Nylander brings it back out over the line, brings it right back in with a pass. McCabe on the right wing side gets it back to the blue line. Off on the right wing side for Tavares, but it was poked off his stick and sent back out at center ice. McCabe passes it off on the right side for Nylander. Weaves to the left wing, makes a move at the blue line, but then had it knocked off his stick. Brought by Zahoma in with a shot, and that goes off the stick of Riley up into the screen, out of play. So the Leafs with a 1-0 lead on a goal by Matthew Nyes, his 7th from Max Domi. And you're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Whoa, oh, oh, oh.
Ozuna. Explore the innovative reggaeton hits that made him a global superstar on a new exclusive SiriusXM channel. Ozuna Radio. The stories behind the songs, his influences, favorite artists, and more. Ozuna Radio. Now for a limited time on Channel 152 and the SiriusXM app.
The best player analysts and insiders live on NHL Network Radio. Mike Johnson.
5-on-5 defensive game for Tampa is getting to the point, Gord, where it is a concern. And it's not just because Vasilevsky hasn't played the entire season. They're giving up almost 4 goals a game. No matter how good your offense is, that's not going to be able to be sustainable.
Get the latest opinion and analysis you need on the home of hockey, NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app. The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
It's between the Ken Hitchcock dots. And the Sens are too loosey-goosey there. They talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk. Ottawa's not like that. And until that part really improves, I don't believe they'll be a playoff team. They'll wow you. They'll wow the fans. They'll win or lose 5-4. But right now, they're middling right now. They're a middling hockey club.
The Power Play. Weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app.
The biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind Ristolainen, walks in, put it between his legs, shoots and scores!
NHL play-by-play on SiriusXM.
Leafs Radio Network.
Face-off coming in the Toronto zone to the left of Martin Jones, and we may give you his statistical information. He's 2-0 with a 3.46 goals against average and a .902 save percentage. He's 8-5-0 lifetime against Pittsburgh, but he's 6-0 in his last 6 games against the Penguins with a 1.0 goals against average.
Like we said, for the Penguins, defense has been great. It's been the offense that has been the surprising struggle. Despite Crosby having a great start, they're 24th in the league in offense.
Comes back to the point. Pettersson trying to get it off on the wing. Karlsson with a shot that's blocked. And the Leafs get it out now on the wing. And turning back with it is Järnkrok to stretch things out. Järnkrok had the pass come off his stick as the door at the penalty box opens. And the Penguins get it back into their own end under control. Punched out into the center ice area, and Crosby turns with it. Rink-wide pass for Karlsson. Karlsson tried to feed it in front of the net. It was knocked away, and the Leafs, Järnkrok, has it under control in his own zone. Järnkrok to the near side for the veteran Morgan Rielly. Rielly starts up ice on the left wing, chips it in over the line. Marner, or at least Gregor, tried to work in off the left wing, gets it back in the net for David Kampf. Kampf tied up against the end boards. Gregor got it freed up for McCabe. McCabe to Marner. Marner high in the slot with a shot in traffic. Backhand shot stopped by Tristan Jarry. McCabe trying to keep the puck in, and he has. Grabbed off by Ryan Graves, though, and the Penguins get it out at center ice. Lagesson trying to help out, and then McCabe cuts across to help out his defense partner, and the Maple Leafs break it out with Domi. Domi to the line and in on the right side against Malkin. Malkin took the puck away from him. Got it in around the boards up on the wing and to the line, but kept in there by Benoit for the Maple Leafs. 11.5 minutes to go, first period. There's 1-0 on the board, and the Leafs have the lead. Timmins starting out with a pass. Benoit scooped it ahead, but it went off Nylander's stick. Nylander almost stole it there from Karlsson in front of the net, but the Penguin defender gets it out at center. Played by Benoit for the Leafs again ahead. Flipped in over the line by the Leafs' Nylander, but the Penguins will shoot it back out at neutral ice, and the Leafs have to go back into their own end. Morgan Rielly behind the net. Starting out slowly with a pass ahead, chipped ahead, and it's going to go over the glass and go out of play. And with 10 minutes and 48 seconds left to play in the first period, Nyes, his 7th from Domi, is on the board.
It's a pretty interesting stat given to us our buddy Stan from down in the TV booth. Pittsburgh Penguins have 4 players in the lineup tonight that have Stanley Cup winning goals in the deciding game of the Stanley Cup Finals. Only one with the Penguins, and that was Chris Letang. I believe that was San Jose, the series they beat the Sharks.
Play it around the boards to the far side, and you're going to give us the rest of them, aren't you?
Nope.
Oh.
Just want to let you know I know, though.
Oh, that's good. Oh, here's a 2-on-1 breaking for the Maple Leafs. Tavares, the wheelman. He's got Nylander, and the pass partially deflected, and Willie was loading up a one-timer, but just had to control the puck and couldn't get a shot away. Bertuzzi, partially deflected, and Willie was loading up a one-timer, but just had to control the puck and couldn't get a shot away. Bertuzzi trying to come away with a loose disc back of the Pittsburgh goal, but the Penguins get it out. Dangerous rush there that really didn't amount to any kind of a scoring chance.
What a difference it makes when you're on the wrong wing getting the pass, right?
Fired deep into the zone by McCabe. Jari plays it on the glass, around on the boards, comes to the line and out at center ice, but stolen by the Leafs there. Nice play by Robertson in front of the net again. Scores! Mitch Marner is the recipient. But what a great play by Nicky Robertson. And the Leafs have a 2-0 lead here in the first period. And this game is nothing like the game before.
Hopefully it stays that way. And Mitch Marner is on fire. That is now 8 points in his last 4 games. And 8 goals in his last 8. As the Leafs... And it really, where Max Domi makes the play, Joe, is on the back check. Lifts the stick, steals the puck, gives it to Robertson, and then gets it back. Right at the hash marks, going to the net, and a little chip shot over the glove of Tristan Jarry has the Leafs up 2-0.
Marner's 13th goal of the season. Domi with a second assist, I would imagine, on that. So a 2-point night for the new number 2 or number 1 center, depending on who you want to classify as which line. Here's Malkin in over the line for Pittsburgh. Passes off on the far side, a drop pass and a shot, and Jones came across nicely, got squared up, shoulders out, made the save, and the rebound is back down into Pittsburgh territory.
Assisted by number 89, Nick Robertson.
Nick Robertson with his 9th point of the season. And a pass here by the Penguins comes back to the blue line. Karlsson has to work to the far side against McMann, and it's taken away by the Maple Leafs. And now here's Robertson starting out at center. Alley-oops high into the far corner for McMann. Puck took a crazy bounce, but goes around back of the net for Robertson. Robertson unable to get to it as it comes to the point, but kept in there by Morgan Riley. Riley around back of the net, far side. Pontus Holmberg, who's been brought up to replace Austin Matthews in the lineup. If you joined us late, the Leafs' premier goal scorer is out with the flu bug. Leafs with it at center ice. Riley in across the line. Played it down into the corner for Tavares. He couldn't come up with it. Chipped into the corner for Nylander. Nylander had it stolen by Crosby, who almost gave the puck away right in front of his own goal to Bertuzzi. Now back come the Penguins. Drop pass for Crosby. Crosby to the left wing side, and a shot. Down is Jones, who came across nicely to smother that, and he holds on for a face-off. And we talk about this all the time. Instead of being stiff and being kind of tense about blocking shots, Jones seems to be leaning forward, good balance, puck hits him, rebound control.
And you're in position for rebound control, absolutely.
It is a 2-0 Toronto lead, and you're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Every year, fans debate over the draft. Who's going first? At Chuck's, they already know. The top draft choice is that icy cold 18-ounce Molson Canadian you're holding, and it's just $4 at Chuck's during Leafs games. No wonder that at draft time, Canadians are always in high demand. Chuck's Roadhouse Bar and Grill. Food the way it ought to be. Price the way it used to be.
Move up to Heathwood. Hi, I'm Hugh Herron. Experience true luxury at Williamsburg Green in Kitchener. Williamsburg Green is everything you want in a community. Enjoy fabulous trails, parks, playgrounds, sports areas, and more. Our beautiful all-brick homes include luxury features you've always dreamed of, even a fully finished lower level. It's time to move up to Heathwood. Learn more at heathwood.com.
Unhibernate, a verb. To laugh in the face of snow because you drive a Subaru. As in, when I unhibernate, I have the roads all to myself because my Subaru has symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive and others don't. Or, the award-winning safety in my Subaru means I can unhibernate all winter while my neighbors stare longingly from their bedroom windows. Or my favorite usage, I am going to unhibernate this winter by visiting my local Subaru dealer today. Welcome to Uncommon Winter Confidence.
You're listening to Toronto Maple Leafs hockey on
Winter Confidence.
You're listening to Toronto Maple Leafs hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
All around. Over 300 members of our armed forces in attendance tonight. And they appear to be enjoying themselves. The draw won by the Penguins and a shot from an angle blockered into the corner by Jones. Tavares gets it out, and the Leafs have had a possible 2-on-1, but Bertuzzi fanned on the pass. Back come the Penguins with Crosby stepping into the slot, still with it, shooting, and it went off a leg and went wide of the net. Another shot goes wide of the Leaf goal, but a penalty coming to Toronto. Goaltender Tristan Jarry has gone to the bench. Penguins with 6 attackers on the ice. Pettersson dropping it back for Malkin. Back to Pettersson. Return for Malkin in on the left wing, and the pass in front was touched. Wow! That was touched by Bertuzzi, but no, they're saying he didn't have control. Now down back of the net it goes. Back on the wing for Crosby. Crosby with a shot, blockered, knocked into the corner, scramble, and finally the whistle goes. Crosby with a shot, blockered, knocked into the corner, scramble, and finally the whistle goes. That was Jake Brink that was a little slow on the...
Well, the thing was, once Bertuzzi touched it, everybody sort of stood still expecting the whistle. And we're a little out of position. We'll see what the penalty is. Is it Liljegren going to go?
Do you want to talk about Pittsburgh power play?
No, I'll give you the cup winners again before.
Oh, yeah,
we said 4 cup winners in the lineup. Chris Letang did it as a member of the Pittsburgh Penguins. The other 3, Lars Eller as a member of the Washington Capitals against Vegas.
Okay.
Jeff Carter is a member of the LA Kings.
Right.
And last year, Riley Smith ended up, you don't look at it as a cup winner when you blow out the opposition in a cup-winning game, but for Vegas last year against Florida.
Long shot deflects in front of the net and is smothered by Jones. So
Jake Gensel was right there looking for a redirection.
the good news for the Penguin power play, the last 2 games, they're 4 of 8. That's 50%.
Are you asking me to check?
No. I was going to let you talk about the previous 13 games, which was a club record.
Yeah, not a good one.
0 for 36. Yeah, I'd say that's not good. And of all of the things you thought about Pittsburgh, their power play was not something that you thought was bad. Now Riley gets an outlet pass, but he's got no momentum going towards the offensive zone, so he regroups it. The Leafs play it ahead, and Calle Järnkrok will now try to kill off some time, but loses the puck. Back at center, and a penalty coming to Pittsburgh. Järnkrok was interfered with as he tried to get back into the Leaf zone. And so the Penguin power play is for naught as Gunsel is going to the penalty box.
And I'll say this, Järnkrok sells this big time. He collided with Gunsel right inside the Pittsburgh blue line, and when the two made their way back up the left wing boards, there was a little chop by the Pittsburgh forward Gunsel. This was after he got pushed from behind, so he retaliates with a little chop to the shin pads of Järnkrok, and down the Leaf went. And the Leafs will play 4-on-4 for the next 120. And if all things stay the same, then a brief power play for Toronto.
First period presented by Bet365. Visit the app for the latest odds and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus. Ontario only. Play responsibly. Here the Leafs in with a shot. Blocking arm save made there by goaltender Jarry. Leafs with it again, and Nylander closing. He's in alone in a goal and had it knocked off his stick, and now a penalty to Pittsburgh. So now things are about to change as well. The Leafs will have a power play of one-man advantage.
And they're fortunate they get the commercial timeout now because it was 4-on-4.
All right. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
The Dodgers get Shohei Ohtani.
When the sports world is talking, nobody gives you more perspectives than the experts of SiriusXM.
10 years, $700 million. That's insane.
Hear instant reaction on Mad Dog Sports Radio.
Shohei Ohtani is Babe Ruth, only better.
Expert analysis on MLB Network Radio.
I'm not sure that all of the contracts that I ever negotiated even total $700 million.
Where the players join the discussion.
Will Smith, Dodgers catcher.
He's the best player in baseball.
Live sports talk when you need it on SiriusXM and the SiriusXM app.
The best player analysts and insiders live on NHL Network Radio.
Mike Johnson.
5-on-5 defensive game for Tampa is getting to the point, Gord, where it is a concern. And it's not just because Vasilevsky hasn't played the entire season. They're giving up almost 4 goals a game. No matter how good your offense is, that's not going to be able to be sustainable.
Get the latest opinion and analysis you need on the home of hockey, NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app.
The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
It's between the Ken Hitchcock dots. And the Sens are too loosey-goosey there. They talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk. Ottawa's not like that. And until that part really improves, I don't believe they'll be a playoff team. They'll wow you. They'll wow the fans. They'll win or lose 5-4. But right now, they're middling right now. They're a middling hockey club.
The Power Play. Weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL.
Up high to Marner, settles it on the near half boards and across in front the shot. Great save made, but it was by Bertuzzi. Played off on the near side. Marner looking for Bertuzzi, still with it, sends it high, and it just went wide of the far post. Kept alive by Nylander at the blue line. 4-on-3. Nylander, little toe drag. Had to go off a stick wide. Tavares protecting the puck well. Curls out of the far half boards. Gets to Willie a shot. And that went off. I may have gone off the crossbar and up into the screen out of play. And in 6 seconds' time, the Maple Leafs will go to a 5-on-3 for the first time this season.
Now, do you tell Timothy Liljegren get out of the box and get right into the power play, or do you try to get Morgan Rielly out instead?
I'd send him right out.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Let's see what the instructions have been. Can they phone over there and tell him what to do, or has this got to be like a hand signal?
Well, everything's by text now.
They have their own phones in their uniforms, like a back pocket?
Well, they got their own tablets behind the bench.
I suppose. Puck comes back to the blue line. Here's Nylander holding. Well, the answer is get Rielly on as fast as possible. He's gone to the bench. Here's Nylander keeping the puck in, and Morgan Rielly is into position now. He takes the pass on the left wing side, a little wrist shot in front, but it was intercepted by Lars Eller and sent down the ice. Quickly played up by goaltender Jones. Left wing now for Bertuzzi. Bertuzzi down into the corner, banks it around the wall to the far side for Tavares. Tavares stretches things out. Knocked down from behind, but got it to the blue line. Here's Rielly, down low, Marner. Marner near corner, still with it to Rielly, a one-timer rebound! Down is Jarry with a great save. Backhand out and down the ice, and out of the penalty box comes Gunsel. He's in with a shot, and it's off the mark wide. Rebound the other way. Here comes Bertuzzi back into the slot area now for Timmins, but he couldn't get a shot away. And the other penalty is over. Riley Smith is on, and it's back down into the Toronto end. Well, all of that excitement for naught. Still 2-0 Toronto. 3:48 to play, first period. Robertson gave the puck away. Here's a chance now set up by Malkin. It comes back into the slot, and fortunately the Leafs are there to knock it away.
That was Max Domi on the back check.
Timmins having difficulty getting out, but now the Leafs do. Robertson to Domi. Domi's had a great period. Never mind that great defensive play. He's picked up 2 assists. Around the boards to the far side. Backhanded into the corner. Played off the wall and into the corner for Ryan Graves. And Graves, for the Penguins, gets it out at center. Diligent back checking by Nyes, who's back into the contest after serving his 5-minute major. And now here's Lagesson getting it ahead. Leafs chip it in over the line. Noah Gregor goes into the corner after it, but can't come up with it. It's spun around the boards. Benoit thinks better of pinching, and the Penguins have to regroup it back of their goal. Left wing feed to the line and in. O'Connor into the slot, but couldn't come up with a loose puck. Good play by Camp to get it out. Here's Noah Gregor, knocked down into the corner, then by Ludwig. The puck comes free, and it is Karlsson having difficulties with Camp playing it up on the wing. Cut off there by Liljegren. Dropped off in a centering pass, bounced off a stick, and it'll come to center ice. Leafs 2, and the Penguins nothing. Nyes and Marner have the goals for Toronto. Both of them 5-on-5. Fought in over the line now by Toronto. Bobby McMann plays it into the corner. Played back to the point, just kept in by Riley, who sends a long shot wide of the goal. Bertuzzi after it. He's on the line here with McMann and Holmgren, and now a shot is deflected off the blocker of Tristan Jarry wide of the net. Back to the point, Riley. Another shot from Timmins, blocked in front. Holmberg couldn't get to it. Played in front of the net. Holmberg is right there, and he rang it off the goal post. Another pass in front, they score! Bobby McMann, his first NHL goal, and the Maple Leafs have opened up a 3-0 lead.
Leafs got a second chance, and Bobby McMann had all kinds of time right between the hash marks to look up and snap it. Blocker's side. This is after Holmberg hit the crossbar seconds earlier. The Leafs get it back, and I believe it's Tyler Bertuzzi, Joe, that just slid it out to the slot and onto the stick to McMahon, and he snaps at blocker's side on Tristan Jarry, and the Leafs have built a 3-0 lead. How about 8-0 at that end of the ice when you consider overtime or the third period of last game?
That's right. You're right about that.
That's where you want to have the season tickets.
Crowd getting notification that it is Bobby McMann's first ever NHL goal, and he took a quick glance up at the score clock and said, that's right. That's the first one.
He actually scored in Detroit last year, but the goal was called back because it was deemed that he had kicked the puck into the net.
Final minute of the first period, and it's been all Toronto. 11-8 shots, but a 3-0 Toronto lead. A little decoy there by Malkin, and then sent the puck in on goal that was easily stopped by Jones. At the point, another shot. Jones is down again. Martin Jones is providing the Leafs with nothing fancy, nothing outstanding, just very, very steady.
Well, we've talked about this. Sometimes it's just a matter of don't give up the one that has an odor to it. That one bad one at the wrong time that can turn a game around. And now, having said that, Leafs have scored for Martin Jones as well.
Yep. Bouncing puck to the near boards. Into the corner, near side, up on the wing. Chopped at there by Nyes, and he'll get it out at center. 30 seconds left to play in the period. Rattled down into the Toronto zone. Liljegren back of the net for Riley. Punched up on the wing, but intercepted by Karlsson. Back to the point, Ludwig. Ludwig's shot was 10 feet wide of the net. Played into the slot. A shot taken by Crosby was deflected wide by Jones. A dozen seconds left now as it's out into the center ice area. John Ludwig getting it up on the right wing side. Karlsson plays it back. Time running out here as a Crosby deflection goes down into the Toronto zone. Booed off the ice after the second period the other night. They'll get a rousing standing ovation here from most of the folks after a 3-0 first period.
But as we've seen with this team all season long, there's still a chance they could get booed off the ice after the second period tonight. But the Leafs back-to-back solid periods. The third period against Columbus on Thursday night and 3 goals to open this. By the way, if you're keeping track on the offense for Martin Jones in his brief stint as a member of the Toronto Maple Leafs this year, he has now been in for 11 goals? No, sorry, 10 goals.
10.
7 with the Rangers, 1 in Ottawa. That's 8, plus 3 is 11. Carry the 6. And
ask me to take my shoes off again.
Only 4 goals again.
Thank you.
That's pretty good support at the other end, too.
You got that right. Well, we've got Gord Stellick joining Justin Cuthbert for our first period intermission. The Leafs with a 3-0 lead. Nyes, Marner, and McMann, the goal scorers. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590, The Fan on the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Feel the pulse of European dance and Europop straight from Monte Carlo. Radio Monaco is a new channel that takes you to the French Riviera for exclusive DJ sets. And a sophisticated mix of music that moves from Dua Lipa, Daft Punk and beyond. Radio Monaco on most radios at channel 340 and the Sirius XM app. Included in all trials and popular plans.
The best player analysts and insiders live on NHL Network Radio. Mike Johnson.
5-on-5 defensive game for Tampa is getting to the point, Gord, where it is a concern. And it's not just because Vasilevsky hasn't played the entire season. They're giving up almost 4 goals a game. No matter how good your offense is, that's not going to be able to be sustainable.
You have the latest opinion and analysis you need on the home of hockey, NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
It's between the Ken Hitchcock dots. And the Sens are too loosey-goosey there. They talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk. Ottawa's not like that. And until that part really improves, I don't believe they'll be a playoff team. They'll wow you. They'll wow the fans. They'll win or lose 5-4. But right now, they're middling right now. They're a middling hockey club.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. 24/7 hockey talk.
One of the greatest goaltenders of all time, Patrick Waugh. When you put your hands up, did you know at that moment that you were done?
No, I did not. Unfortunately, it happened. Just gave me a chance to have a fresh start somewhere else and be traded to Colorado was a good opportunity. Sometimes you need that little, change, and it was welcome for me.
Sirius XM, NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and on your schedule with the Sirius XM app. The Point with Boomer Gordon.
18 months ago, I had New Flyers head coach John Tortorella. And I asked him what he was worried about the club, and he said, I don't like the room. We have a bad room. And I'm like, you haven't even coached this team yet. A year and a half later, John Tortorella loves his room. He loves this team, and he loves that they compete every night.
Point with Boomer Gordon. 1 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
If you're a soccer fan, you know that this music means one thing. The Champions League is on Sirius XM FC.
Hat-trick for Erling Haaland. Kane scores!
The top teams from around Europe are battling for club soccer's holy grail.
Real Madrid do what they do best. What a start for Inter!
Hear all the top Champions League matches all tournament long on Sirius XM FC 157 and streaming on the Sirius XM app.
Under review.
And if someone says, well, he's good in the room, you know what? They don't have a good in the room stat in the standings. I've yet to find that category. It's one of the most overplayed things. They better be good in the room. That's the least you better bring when you join a National Hockey League team.
Under review with Mick Kern, 11 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
Hi, this is Ray Hudson, and for all the biggest matches from club soccer's
XM app.
Hi, This is Ray Hudson, and for all the biggest matches from club soccer's holy grail, the UEFA Champions League, tune in to Sirius XM FC 157.
Leafs Radio Network.
Played in front of the net. Holmberg is right there, and he rang it off the goal post. Another pass in front. They score! Bobby McMann, his first NHL goal, and the Maple Leafs have opened up a 3-0 lead.
Welcome back to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. Justin Cuthbert and Gord Stellick with your first intermission. The Leafs lead the Pittsburgh Penguins 3-0 after a brilliant first period.
Boy, oh boy, the cure for not having Austin Matthews, a late scratch with the flu bug, is play like they did in the first period. Really highlight real goals. That's what we're used to Crosby and Malkin doing all those years against the Maple Leafs. And honestly, Justin, I was just looking up Bobby McMann because the pièce de résistance, that's French, anyway, is we've got the Pittsburgh Penguins dads here. It was the Leafs dads trip last year that Bobby McMann scored, and they're all going crazy. And his dad happened to be on the trip, of course, and they reviewed it, and it got taken away. So he was denied his first career NHL goal. Not sure if his parents are in the building or not, but that was a nice third goal to cap off a great period.
Yeah, it's been over 11 months since Bobby McMann thought he scored his first NHL goal. He gets it tonight. There was a bit extra on that celebration, and we soon knew why. That was a tenacious fourth-line shift that resulted in a goal, although Bertuzzi was on it, so maybe semi-fourth line. Before the show, or before the game, we were asking the question, who does this one matter the most in Kyle Dubas' return? And I think we kind of agreed, Kyle Dubas, but I want to submit two other names. That's Matthew Knies and Max Domi. Matthew Knies was shot out of a cannon. He scored the first goal of the game and immediately fought John Ludwig, and he wanted that fight. I mean, he was there was no instigator, but he was definitely instigating that one. And I will put out Max Domi as well, because now, I don't know this for a fact. I'm speculating just a little bit. But I would think Kyle Dubas was never interested in bringing Max Domi to the Toronto Maple Leafs. That's just my opinion. And maybe he knew that, and maybe he's playing like I do belong on this team. And he was really, really good in a big spot. Moved up to the second line playing with Mitch Marner, Domi was one of the stories of the period for sure.
Yeah, it really is. Now probably Matthew Knies wants to show Kyle, this is a good draft pick you made, okay? Yep. Me as a second rounder, but you're right. Ty Domi has always had the big luster here, and I'm sure his son Max has always been intrigued playing here. And you're right. It probably, word gets out, and when he was a free agent, that Toronto wasn't on the radar. He gets 2 assists in the first period. That opportunity with the line juggling with Matthews' absence, and so far, after 20 minutes, he made the most of it. Yeah, with Knies, I thought he might get an instigator, but I think the ref knew that he could have called like a stick infraction against, I don't know, Ludwig, obviously, on Domi. So good on Knies jumping in. Like I thought, okay, he's made it 1-0, but now they're going to be on the a PK. But you know what? He stood up for a teammate. Well, ended up being a wash. And then Mitch Marner, another highlight reel goal, and then McMann to wrap things off at the end of the period.
And in the most hockey thing ever, Max Domi was not sure if he lost a tooth during that little battle. I mean, I'm not sure how you could not know if you lost a tooth, but that's, I guess, the case when you've lost a few teeth. Yeah, I mean, Max Domi, a couple beautiful plays in transition, but give credit to Nick Robertson, who set up that Mitch Marner goal with a really brilliant turn. Great play of the puck to spring Mitch Marner, who is red hot right now.
And, you know, when things are going really well, first of all, you want to be a great goaltender, get the offensive output Martin Jones has been getting so far. He's played well, but, man, they've been scoring goals the brief few times he's been in. And same thing with Nick Robertson, because he's, you don't play a lot, and you don't want a glaring defensive faux pas to be a focal point, which he had a horrible giveaway in his own zone. And that's part of where team covers your butt, what have you. You do as well. But, boy, that could have been a big one for Pittsburgh. So great to see him. Really another guy talking about finding his rhythm. I really believe his future is as a core 6, top 2 line guy for the Maple Leafs. We know all about the injuries and that, but it's really, his time to get to the next level. And he was very effective in the first period.
It took Knies 5 minutes to get the goal and the fight. So he's an assist away from the Gordie Howe hat trick. 55 minutes to work with. He become the first to do so with the Maple Leafs since Matt Fratton in April of 2012. It's been a while, so let's get Matthew Knies an assist tonight. Let's take a quick break. We'll be back on the other side. You're listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
From the biggest stadiums to the coziest holes in the wall. From house parties to porch hangs to pride celebrations. From your favorite fuzz shop to your local Indian spot. From noodle bars to sports bars to salsa bars. There's a Molson with your name on it. Canadian Ultra XL. Molson. Everyone in. Must be legal drinking age.
NHL All-Star Thursday is coming to Toronto with 3 exciting events in one star-filled night. First, celebrity captains select their teams in the Tim Hortons NHL All-Star Player Draft. Then, the 1967 Stanley Cup champion Maple Leafs are honored in the NHL Alumni Man of the Year. And finally, the best in women's hockey compete in the Canadian Tire PWHL 3-on-3 Showcase. It's NHL All-Star Thursday on February 1st. Buy tickets now starting at $44 at NHL.com/Thursday.
There are many peculiar words in the English language. Words like salivigant, peregrinate, nemophilus, peripatetic, and conviviality. Yet, there is no word for getting the most out of winter in your Subaru, thanks to symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive and X-Mode. Until now. We call it unhibernate. As in, while your neighbors stay home, you'll be unhibernating all winter in your Subaru. So peregrinate to your local Subaru dealer today, and welcome to Uncommon Winter Confidence.
Move up to Heathwood. Hi, I'm Hugh Herron. Experience true luxury at Williamsburg Green in Kitchener. Heathwood's all-brick homes are built with upgraded features and elevated finishes. Chef-inspired kitchens, spa-like en-suites, and a fully finished lower level. Even better, Williamsburg Green has parks, playgrounds, and trails to explore. It's time to move up to Heathwood. Learn more at heathwood.com.
Truck.ca. So when you gotta move, all moving day. Think 2-minute truck.ca. Cause all of us movers are not the same. So that's our company name, 2-minute-truck.ca. We're lots of men with lots of trucks, so give us a call today.
Hi, it's Catherine from Great Canadian Meat. Shopping stress? I get it. Dad wants a motorcycle. And Mom wants, a 4x4, please. But if you get them what they want, it won't be a surprise. So get them the next best thing. Great Canadian. Dad wants a motorcycle. And Mom wants, a 4x4, please. But if you get them what they want, it won't be a surprise. So get them the next best thing. Great Canadian Meat.
Did you get my text? I want a trip to the Bahamas.
As if. Our sweet heat beef jerky is hotter than any beach in the Bahamas. And the guy she hopes to meet there. Keep it real. Get them Great Canadian Meat from our store in Whitby or greatcanadianmeat.com.
You're listening to Toronto Maple Leafs hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
Welcome back to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. Justin Cuthbert and Gord Stellick. Leafs up 3-0 on the Pittsburgh Penguins after one. Should clarify, Nye's an assist away from becoming the first Leaf rookie to net a Gordie Howe hat-trick since Matt Fratton in 2012. I was thinking after that Nye's goal, got to be a little weird watching your creation if you're Kyle Dubas.
Yeah, I think probably afterwards a sense of pride and that, but yes, you don't like to see him put a bit of a dagger in you so far.
Okay, let's get to the out-of-town scoreboard. Brought to you by Bet365. Busy night in the NHL, of course. The Canucks lost 2-1 in a shootout to the Wild this afternoon. Jets up 2-0 on the Avalanche. Flyers up 1-0 on the Red Wings. It's scoreless between the Islanders and Canadians. Devils up 3-1 on the Blue Jackets. And the Rangers and Bruins in a big one are knotted at 0. Scoreless after one. Gord, Penguins, what do they got to do? We got 25 seconds left to go here. What do they got to do to get back into this game?
What the Leafs weren't doing against Columbus, sometimes you're not skating. Leafs are skating. Penguins aren't. That's what they got to do. They got a simple thing, whether it's kids hockey or whatever. They got to skate more. They got to skate like they can.
First Intermission, presented by Bet365. Visit the app for the latest odds and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus. Ontario only. Play responsibly. We'll throw it a break. Joe and Jim will have the call of the second period next. You're listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
This league's crazy right now. This thing is all up in the air.
When it happens in the NFL, we're reacting to it on Sirius XM NFL Radio.
Travis Kelce. This dude sees the game differently and at a much higher level than a lot of people out there running around playing.
Get closer to the game with interviews with players, coaches, and executives.
Hall of Fame quarterback Troy Aikman joining us.
Dak has always had all of the intangibles, and it's why I've always had so much respect for him.
Nobody covers the game like Sirius XM NFL Radio, Channel 88.
The best player analysts and insiders live on NHL Network Radio. Mike Johnson.
5-on-5 defensive game for Tampa is getting to the point, Gord, where it is a concern. And it's not just because Vasilevsky hasn't played the entire season. They're giving up almost 4 goals a game. No matter how good your offense is, that's not going to be able to be sustainable.
You have the latest opinion and analysis you need on the home of hockey, NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
It's between the Ken Hitchcock dots. And the Sens are too loosey-goosey there. They talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk. Ottawa's not like that. And until that part really improves, I don't believe they'll be a playoff team. They'll wow you. They'll wow the fans. They'll win or lose 5-4. But right now, they're middling right now. They're a middling hockey club.
The Power Play. Weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
If you're a soccer fan, you know that this music means one thing. The Champions League is on Sirius XM FC.
Hat-trick for Erling Haaland. Kane scores!
The top teams from around Europe are battling for club soccer's holy grail.
Real Madrid do what they do best. What a start for Inter!
Hear all the top Champions League matches all tournament long on Sirius XM FC 157 and streaming on the Sirius XM app.
The biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind Ristolainen. Walks in. Put it between his legs. Shoot it. Score!
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM.
Radio Network.
We are back as the Maple Leafs have a 3-0 lead on the Pittsburgh Penguins, and René Van Kessel has joined us. Explain your title in the Armed Forces.
Thank you, Joe. I'm an honorary colonel in the Royal Canadian Air Force. I am attached to 16 Wing, which is at CFB Borden, north of the city. You've got a big year coming up here. We do. 2024 is the centennial year of the Royal Canadian Air Force. Your Air Force was born at Base Borden 100 years ago next year, and we have a ton of celebrations coming up, and we invite all Canadians to join us in our celebrations. There are air shows across the country rather. There's a 100th anniversary book called Pathway to the Stars. There are celebratory events at units and wings across the nation from coast to coast. And at CFB Borden, my home base, we have a homecoming day on April 2nd next year, which includes the unveiling of the Ad Astra Monument to commemorate 100 years of the Air Force. It is about honoring our past, celebrating our present, and inspiring future generations of Canadians.
There's a great connection as well, the Toronto Maple Leafs and everything else with the Armed Forces. And
there is.
There's a pretty big name that used to be a pilot.
Oh, there were a couple of them, actually. Conn Smythe and Billy Barker and Billy Bishop as well.
Well, Billy Bishop is a very famous name, obviously.
Yeah.
I did not realize that Conn Smythe was a pilot. I know he was very much in organizing armed forces to go over both in the First and the Second World War, but I did not know that he was part of the RCAF.
He started in the Army, actually, and ended up in the Air Force, absolutely.
Isn't that great? Now, having this night is a very special night, isn't it?
Tremendous honor.
One year we had a Montreal Canadian fan. I said, no, we're drawing the line here.
Go, Leafs, go.
Yeah, you've been hooping and hollering when they've scored, so thank you ever so much. We really appreciate having you here.
Such a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
All right, we have a 3-0 Toronto lead to start this second period as it's knocked down into the Toronto zone, who defend the goal down to our left. Crosby unable to keep it in, and it's poked out into the center ice area, and racing down there after it is David Kampf. He's taken to the end boards. The puck goes around the wall to the near side. Kampf trying to dig it out. Unable to make a pass to find Yarncrook, who chased after it down in back of the goal, but it is now pushed out into the center ice area. Leafs have it back at their own blue line. Off Yarncrook down into Pittsburgh territory. It's going to turn into an icing, and it's coming back.
Well, 3-0 lead. So far, so good. But the race to 4 might be the key in this game. The Pittsburgh Penguins have not won a game when giving up 4 or more goals. They are 0-8 on the season. Only the Blackhawks, who are 0-14, have a worse record. The best record with scoring 4 more goals. Pittsburgh's among the best. They're 9-0.
Played into the corner. Smith trying to play it in front of the net, was too well covered. It goes to Malkin, back of the goal, back to the point once more. Now to Karlsson, a drive. Nice pad save made by Jones, right leg. Back of the goal, Drew O'Connor rolls out in front of the goal, and Jones is there. Looked like the Leafs were going to be out of trouble, but they overskate the puck, and Jones has to bail them out. And what you hope you don't get is, oh, this one's in the bag, we can just kind of coast along, right?
Well, their memory's got to be real short. To think a 3-0 lead in the second period is in the bag. But right there, it was Timothy Liljegren maybe showing a little bit of rust as he tried to poke it forward. Speaking of rust, Pittsburgh Penguins have a number of key players out of the lineup as well.
Including
Brian Rust.
Yes. Shot deflected wide down in the Pittsburgh zone. Penguins playing it around the boards. Karlsson banking it ahead, and it's gone by him and by the Leaf goal. And icing is going to be the call here against the Penguins, and back into the Pittsburgh zone it goes. Kyle Dubas went out and spent some money, and Erik Karlsson is the biggest acquisition. But again, it's the Pittsburgh Penguins hoping that maybe they can drag another run at the Cup out of a lot of older players.
I will say this, even though they missed the Stanley Cup playoffs last year for the first time in 16 years, I would never count Sidney Crosby out of anything at any time during his career.
No. And what a season he's having. Pettersson gets it to center, long shoot in. Jones steering it into the corner. Round back of the net for Tavares. Tavares to Bertuzzi, chipped ahead. Here's Nylander getting out, but he's well marked and gets in on the right side. Got a shot away. Big rebound off the right pad of Tristan Jarry. Now Nylander stealing it. Now here's Bertuzzi centering. Another puck in front of the goal. 2 fans on it. One was Domi and the next one was McCabe. I don't think either of them made contact with it. Long shoot in again down into the Toronto zone. Snapped out at center now for Marner. Tipped in over the line for Nyes. Nyes in for Domi! Scores! Holy mackerel, what a play by the Leaf netminder! And the Leafs have a 4-0 lead!
And again, it's the Nyes-Domi combination. And Max has his second as a member of the Leafs. Both of them coming off partial breakaways. This one, Nyes, a between-the-feet pass. And this is going to be it for Tristan Jarry. As Nyes throws it back to Domi in the high slot. Max Domi walks in, fake shot, and continues to hold it on the forehand as he goes around Jarry before slipping it under his stick and into the empty net.
The unfortunate part of the goal is the best part about it was the goaltender making the pass, and he won't get an assist. Jones makes a heads-up play, gets it right up to the blue line, and Max Domi has got his first 3-point game in a Leaf uniform.
He's had a couple of 2-point games. Like we mentioned, Domi and Matthew Nyes first teamed up in Tampa together when the Leafs were down early to the Lightning, needed 2 third-period goals. Nyes had both of them. Both were set up by Max Domi.
Penguins keep the puck into the Toronto zone. Riley playing it around back of the net. Cut off by Crosby. Oh, and a centering pass and another brilliant pad save made by Jones. Here's Gregor working in on the right side, and Nedeljkovic was able to get a stick on that. Tristan Jarry out of the game. Alex Nedeljkovic is in goal now for Pittsburgh.
And number 16, Mitch
Mitch Marner gets his second point of the game as well. But what a great play made by goaltender Martin Jones to get the puck out of his own end and really spark the odd man rush. Timmins, a pass ahead for Domi, up on the left wing for Nyes. Nyes, oh, by the way, the assist by Nyes now gives him the very first Gordie Howe hat trick of his career. Now here's Marner stealing. He works in a goal. Rang it off the goal post. The red light went on, but it didn't go in the net. Timmins misses his man O'Connor with a hit. And it's been all Toronto with 4 minutes played here in the second period. Long lead pass, trying to spring his man. One-handed by McMann. And a penalty coming. Now we've got a bit of a fight going on, or pushing anyway.
It was Bobby McMann that drew the penalty. It looks like we've got a misconduct coming up here.
Well, I was looking to see if there was a penalty shot.
And Bobby McMann does make contact with the goaltender Nedeljkovic. But it's Chris Letang is the one that is having the heated argument with the official all the way to the box.
Pittsburgh, number 58, 2 minutes for holding. Misconduct.
Animus. Oh, wow.
It's almost like he almost forgot.
It was an afterthought, wasn't it?
He's given them the misconduct. So they're going to have somebody else come over and serve the 2 minutes.
4:06 the time of the penalty.
The good thing is the Leafs have not let up. They've continued to force it. Mitch Marner just hit the crossbar, and McMann on a partial breakaway almost made it 5-0. Which, as of Thursday, is the worst lead in hockey.
Face off to the right of goaltender Alex Nedeljkovic, who comes into the game with a 3-2-1 record and a 2.29 goals against average, as the Leafs have driven Tristan Jarry from the game. All of this without Austin Matthews. Nylander gets it off on the wing for Domi. Down low it goes. Coming out with there's Marner with a shot. That deflects and goes up into the screen, out of play.
Matthews might have a tough time getting back into the lineup.
That's just silly. You know he's got 23 goals. How could you possibly not think he'd make it back into the lineup?
Well, Max Domi's got 3 points in 25 minutes.
Good point. Yeah.
You know, I'm a numbers guy.
Yeah, you are. And an astute hockey mind.
Well,
one that we're awfully glad isn't running this operation.
That's not for me to say, but I appreciate it. That's for my fans.
Well, you know. Or actually, it's just from your fans. Leafs win the draw. Riley into the slot with a drive. Rebound, scores! Tavares off to the side. 5-0. Oh, no. 5-0 Toronto in the second period.
I love the fact that the Leafs win the draw and get the puck to the net. This is how they scored early in the third period. Was a huge goal against the New York Rangers to make it 5-3. Won the draw. Riley took it to the middle of the ice, threw it to the net. Marner deflects it in. Here, a little give and go between Morgan Riley and Willie Nylander. Nylander lets it go from the high slot, middle of the ice. It's stopped by Nedeljkovic with John Tavares in front. Tavares picks up the loose puck off the left pad of the Pittsburgh goaltender. Nedeljkovic didn't know where it was. And by the time he found it, Tavares had simply backhanded it into the empty net. And the Leafs have now scored 5 on just 18 shots here early in the second period.
And in the last period and a bit, they have scored 10.
Martin Jones is golden, isn't he?
Hey. You're going to get that kind of support. You're going to get an offside here at the Toronto blue line. And so the Leafs with a 5-0 lead, and John Tavares, 1,004 points now. And I believe the next home game, which is on Thursday, the Buffalo Sabres here, I believe. Is that?
No, it's not Buffalo.
No, we got another one, right?
It's a different team.
Oh, yeah.
Is it the Rangers?
Yeah, that's right. Will be the shot from the point. Down is Jones, looking for it a little bit, but there it is, right at his knee. And he's going to hold on.
Well, Gensel, a little shove on Jake McCabe, who came back at him after the net had been knocked off its moorings. But for Martin Jones, as we mentioned, he came in relief in Ottawa in a game that Joseph Wall got hurt. The Leafs scored when he went in. That made it 4-2. Jones gave up a goal late, 4-3. So he's 1-1 in that game, goals for and against. Wins 7-3 at Madison Square Garden. That's 8 goals for, 4 against. Let's add another 5. 13 and 4. They do that with defensemen and forwards. Let's do it with goalies.
Oh, a good block by Noah Gregor, and he gets up limping a little bit and is going to head to the bench. Looks to be all right, but he blocked a point shot there right off the shin pad, and he gets a lot of taps at the bench after that bit of heroic action, and is played by the Leafs back down into the Pittsburgh end. Ryan Graves getting it up on the wing, intercepted by Domi. Domi snaps it around back of the net. Camp couldn't reach it, but Marner does. Oh, and he just missed that far post. Back to the point, Benoit. That shot was blocked. The rebound in front of the goal, and Camp couldn't come up with it. Cleared to center ice. Connor Timmins playing it back, but it's brought on now by Gunsel. Gunsel in over the line, dropping it off, and the shot whistled high and wide of Jones's cage. Kept in at the point and fed into the far corner. Benoit back of the net to find Timmins. Timmins will flip the puck out into the center ice area. Pierre-Olivier Joseph turning back in his own zone. Got it up on the right wing side. Off on the wing, a shot deflects off the side of the net. Down is Jones again. He's got the puck somewhere underneath him. And there are 5 Leafs in the blue paint, making sure that Martin Jones wasn't going to get molested in any shape or form. And you like to see that as well. 13:49 left to play here in period number 2. The Leafs have added 2 more. It's 5-0 Toronto. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Bet365 doesn't do ordinary. That's why they've introduced Same Game Parlay Plus. It's a game changer. Making a same game parlay across different games has never been easier because the biggest games and most popular markets are now all in one place. Check out Same Game Parlay Plus and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit connexontario.ca.
Every year, fans debate over the draft. Who's going first? At Chuck's, they already know. The top draft choice is that icy cold 18-ounce Molson Canadian you're holding, and it's just $4 at Chuck's during Leafs games. No wonder that at draft time, Canadians are always in high demand. Chuck's Roadhouse Bar and Grill. Food the way it ought to be. Price the way it used to be.
Unhibernate. Verb. To laugh in the face of snow because you drive a Subaru. As in, when I unhibernate, I have the roads all to myself because my Subaru has symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive and others don't. Or, the award-winning safety in my Subaru means I can unhibernate all winter while my neighbors stare longingly from their bedroom windows. Or my favorite usage. I am going to unhibernate this winter by visiting my local Subaru dealer today. Welcome to Uncommon Winter Confidence.
You're listening to Toronto Maple Leafs hockey.
Holy mackerel! 3 goals! He's tied the game!
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
Been a bad week for saying goodbye to good friends. Dr. Jake Hollop, who was a longtime physician and team doctor for the Sudbury Wolves, passing away from something that touched my family early on, leukemia. And our condolences to his twin brother, Craig, who is a restaurateur up in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, and to all of Dr. Jake's many, many friends and patients. Our deepest sympathies go out to the Hollop family. 5-0 in favor of the Maple Leafs here in the second period, and a pass off to Tavares. He steps in and a shot blocked, rebound, shot wide of the goal. Oh my, what a chance the Leaf captain had just there. Crosby brings it back for Pittsburgh. Holds and sends it down into the corner. Centering feed, blocked on the short side there by goaltender Martin Jones. Leafs again. Nylander in on the wing, a shot. Good pad save by Nedeljkovic. 13-16 to play here in the period as Crosby launches a long one down wide of the Leaf goal. Wow, this is the last 3 periods of hockey have been rather interesting, have they not?
Playing the parade now, right?
Oh boy,
coming up.
I don't know. A penalty coming to Toronto here, and it may be Bobby McMann involved in a collision down in the Pittsburgh end, but the Penguins have extra tacker on, and an errant pass now to Lagesson, and it'll be a tripping call. And it's it's actually going to Holmberg, is going to the penalty box, and so the Pittsburgh Penguins are going to be on the power play for the second time in the hockey game.
Well, when the Leafs were coming back against Columbus when they're down 5 in the third period, a lot of people, and you and I will remember this game, brought up the fact that the Leafs blew a 5-goal lead to the St. Louis Blues. I believe that was it 5-1 to Ottawa that they blew a lead here during the bubble series.
Can we talk about something nice?
Or just bringing up historical references.
Well, I know, but
no. But we talked about
the
how
last game.
Our last game we talked about the Leafs coming back against Boston from down 6-1.
Exactly.
What I'm saying is, okay, keep listening, folks. The Leafs have proven.
I really think that anybody who is a Leaf fan understands that without you telling them.
I think my job is to remind them.
Well, you know, and you do such a great job. Now the Penguins, Crosby with a pass into the slot, got it back again to Karlsson. Karlsson shot high over top of the net. Jake McCabe got the puck off the glove of Karlsson out into the center ice area. Malkin turning for Pittsburgh, drops it back to Karlsson. Karlsson up on the left wing. Gunsel will get it in on the right side. It goes into the corner. That draws a crowd. Quickly played up on the boards, and it goes off a skate and into the crowd on the far side. Minute 27 left to go in the penalty. We've got 12-14 to go in the second period, and on Armed Forces night, it is a 5-0 Toronto lead. The goal scorers, Nyes, Marner, McMann, Domi, and Tavares. Domi with a 3-point night. Nyes with 3 points and a fight, or 2 points and a fight. And the Gordie Howe hat trick as a point shot by Karlsson is drilled in there, and I think Jones got a pad in front of that, deflecting it wide. Now McCabe off the board, sends it out and down the ice for Toronto. Penguins beating Anaheim and Montreal to end a losing streak, but have run into a bit of a juggernaut so far here in the Maple Leafs. Off a stick, it comes back to Karlsson. Left point, sent in wide of the net. Gunsel sends it around on the boards to the far point. Back to Karlsson, into Crosby. Back onto the right wing side. Looking back at the point, it comes to Karlsson. Karlsson to Malkin, looking back for Crosby. The pass was behind him, but Karlsson is able to help to keep it in. Now it is Malkin on the left wing boards, down into the half wall. Back of the net it goes. Looking for Gunsel in front of the net. It comes back to Malkin. Cross-ice pass. Crosby, a quick shot. Pad save made by Jones. 21 seconds left in the penalty. Karlsson again to Crosby. Back to the blue line to Malkin. Malkin holds back to Karlsson. Karlsson down low. Looking in front. It comes back to Karlsson. Back to Malkin. Back to Karlsson. The drive coming. Ow! That hit Liljegren right in the seat of the pants. And then Crosby is denied as the penalty box door will open. Near side, Karlsson once more. Pass down low, centering pass, sprawling to block that was Lagesson, and it goes to the far side. Good penalty killing here by Liljegren and Lagesson. Into the slot, another shot, rolls in on goal, cleared up on the boards, and the Leafs are going to punch it out at center ice. And get a rousing rendition of the applause here because of their penalty kill and sacrificing Around on the boards into the Leaf zone once more. Joseph tries to play it back of the net. It comes back to the blue line. Near side now for Pettersson. Long shot. There is Martin Jones. He looks just so comfortable, Jimmy.
Yeah, and I know, you're talking about an NHL veteran at training camp, but in preseason, I mean, he had some moments where you're going, if you didn't know that he was here as insurance, as depth for the Leafs, you'd think, boy, this is your number one guy coming into the regular season. Didn't happen. The Leafs were lucky that Jones cleared waivers. And now you see, you can talk about all the moves general managers make that don't work out. Let's say that for right now, Martin Jones is one that has been huge for Brad Treliving and the Leafs.
Nyes unable to keep the puck in the Pittsburgh end. Gets it back into neutral ice. Timmins with a pass over on the wing for Domi. He couldn't get into the zone because Marner had preceded him. Now Timmins up ahead for Marner, and the linesman says it is offside. Play whistled in. We go to commercial break with the Maple Leafs holding on to a 5-0 lead. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Larry the Cable Guy. How it started.
I went on stage one day and I said, hey, this guy ever come over to your house? Hey, did you order cable? Well, somebody's ordered something. And I come off stage and like a beeline. Rob Schneider said, that Cable Guy thing is hilarious. And David Spade goes, that's a Saturday Night Live character.
Now, hear Larry the Cable Guy and the Fun Bunch. Wednesdays at 11 a.m. East.
On Sirius XM 97 or listen on the Sirius XM app. Get her done.
24/7 Hockey Talk.
One of the greatest goaltenders of all time. Patrick Waugh, when you put your hands up, did you know at that moment that you were done?
No, I did not. Unfortunately, it happened. Just gave me a chance to have a fresh start somewhere else and be traded to Colorado was a good opportunity. Sometimes you need that little, change, and it was welcome for me.
Sirius XM NHL Network Radio. Sirius XM 91. And on your schedule with the Sirius XM app. The Point with Boomer Gordon.
18 months ago, I had New Flyers head coach John Tortorella. And I asked him what he was worried about the club, and he said, I don't like the room. We have a bad room. And I'm like, you haven't even coached this team yet. A year and a half later, John Tortorella loves his room. He loves this team, and he loves that they compete every night.
Point with Boomer Gordon. 1 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio. Sirius XM 91 and the Sirius XM app. The best hockey lives here.
Burns gets it back. Stick handles to the backhand. Moves in front. Score!
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM Radio Network.
Apparently we're back. Andrew's not doing a very good job. He just waves at me. Doesn't say that we're...
No, but you had your headset off.
Well, it's better for him to wave then.
He did wave.
Oh, that's right. All right, maybe he's doing a good job.
You must have been confused watching Matlock.
Well, only because he always had the same gray suit on. No, I was fine. Now, you be nice about Matlock because Renee Van Kessel is a lawyer. So she could be Mrs. Matlock or Miss Matlock.
You keep driving that car on your own.
I'm not even saving it from that one.
You're not even? All right. Okay. Thank you. 5-0 Toronto. I actually love Matlock. I thought it was a great show, and I love Andy Griffith. So there. Back into the...
I just thought the plot might be a little much for you. Even though the ending was the same every time, wasn't it?
Well, pretty close. He usually got the conviction or an acquittal. Back in along the boards. Penguins get it back to the point. Joseph trying to get a shot to the net, and again the pad of Jones is out there. Now the shots are very close. In fact, Pittsburgh is out shooting the Maple Leafs 23-21, and a shot here is blocked by a sprawling Connor Timmins, and the Leafs are going to get the puck out at center ice courtesy Max Domi. Boy, there have been some big-time shot blocks made here, have there not?
And you like to see it, even in a 5-0 game.
Lagesson, Liljegren, and now here's Timmins. Played to the line. Liljegren takes his man O'Connor wide. Puck is punched out at center ice, and the Penguins will go back to organize and now rifle it in off the glass and around the boards to the far side. Restored by Toronto to Riley. Pushed up ahead for Nylander, but he gave the puck away and then took down his man, but no penalty. Shot in front. Another good save made by Jones in front of the net. Penguins back to the point. Another shot coming. Blocked in front. It'll go into the near corner. Penalty coming here against Pittsburgh.
I think it's going to be a high stick on Evgeni Malkin. And the Penguins superstar is not thrilled with that call, but puts his head down and will skate over towards the penalty box. So the Leafs will go back to the power play. You're right, Pittsburgh now actually out shooting the Leafs 25-21. Alex Nedeljkovic, who's in goal for Pittsburgh right now. Austin Matthews out of the lineup tonight. Do you know what the significance is between Matthews and Alex Nedeljkovic?
You're going to tell me.
No, I'm going to ask if you know, Kurt.
I'm going to ask you to tell me.
He was in goal for the Red Wings when Austin Matthews scored his 60th goal here in a 3-0 Leaf win.
I knew that. I just wanted to make sure you did.
What was the score again?
I have no idea.
Yeah, 3-0. Yeah. And I only remember looking up about when Matthews got his 60th. Remember his, 55th was in Dallas?
Yep. But Matthews, if you joined us late, is not in the game.
Nor is DJ Brody, that flu that has been hanging around that cost Matthew Nyes a couple of games. And it's a good thing Nyes is back.
Yes. Goal and an assist in a fight. Leafs with the puck, and Marner looking for a man in front. Doesn't make the pass. Now sends it in front for Riley. A shot rang off the goal post. Tavares on the far half boards with control. Looks back to the blue line to find Morgan Riley again. Cross ice it comes to Willie. Nylander with a pass that was blocked. High stick making contact. No, says the linesman. And it's shot out and down the ice by Pittsburgh.
With 5-0 lead, they've also had two posts here in the second. Marner had one earlier.
And now Riley. Riley dropping it back. Brought on by Nick Robertson, who splits the defense, then drops off to Matthew Nyes down the right wing boards. He pulls up, gets it back to the point to Connor Timmins. Over on the left wing side, back it comes to Timmins. Shot coming. Bertuzzi couldn't get to it. Cleared out and down the ice. And way out of the goal comes Jones, and he's just going to punch it ahead for Robertson, who takes it under control and circles back in the Leaf zone with 38 seconds left to go in the power play. Robertson up ahead for Nyes. Slipped in around back of the Pittsburgh goal, far side. Half minute to go on the power play. Yarncrook back to the point. Near side for Nyes. And the one-timer was stopped by Nedeljkovic. Back to the point for Timmins. Timmins to the left wing side. Robertson with a shot. That was wired wide and off the glass. It comes all the way out and down the ice into Toronto territory. 6 minutes to go, second period, and if you joined us late, it's been all Toronto, 5-0. Bertuzzi in front, shot, scores! Noah Gregor! 6-0 Toronto, and everyone's getting in on the act.
This is a great setup by Tyler Bertuzzi in the left wing circle. Stops. Throws it out to the high slot, and Noah Gregor. We've talked about his release before. It's sneaky quick, and he flings this towards the Pittsburgh net, and it's glove side again. He's loved this end of the ice. We saw him scoring Thatcher Demko. His first goal of the season was the Leafs' first goal of the season against Jake Allen at that end, and he likes to go glove side, it seems, doesn't he?
It's going to be a power play goal. It comes at 14:04. Malkin went off at 12:06. So there were a couple of seconds left on the clock when Gregor scored his fifth of the season. And is there another penalty coming here to Pittsburgh? There is. Played ahead for Camp. Camp across the line to Marner on the left wing side. Tried to drop it back. Malkin has touched it. And a high stick. Again.
And it's Gensel, I believe, again. Will head to the box for the Pittsburgh Penguins.
6-0 Toronto with 5:18 to play, second period. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590, The Fan, and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
There are many peculiar words in the English language. Words like solivigant, peregrinate, nemophilus, peripatetic, and conviviality. Yet, there is no word for getting the most out of winter in your Subaru, thanks to symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive and X-Mode. Until now. We call it unhibernate, as in while your neighbors stay home, you'll be unhibernating all winter in your Subaru. So peregrinate to your local Subaru dealer today, and welcome to Uncommon Winter Confidence.
Hi, it's Catherine from Great Canadian Meat. What makes a great gift? Well, I think we can all agree that a gift that's homemade is a great gift. A gift that's the same shape as a stocking, that's important. A gift they can eat? Definitely. And if they like to share, a gift you can eat too. Well, that settles it. Our Great Canadian Meat salami and pepperoni sticks are the perfect gift and a perfect addition to your charcuterie board. Pick up Great Canadian Meat at our store in Whitby or online at greatcanadianmeat.com.
Think two-man-a-truck.ca. So when you gotta move, all moving day. Think two-man-a-truck.ca. Cause all of us movers are not the same. So that's our company name, two-men-in-a-truck.ca. We're lots of men with lots of trucks, so give us a call today.
You're listening to Toronto Maple Leafs hockey.
They score! Holy mackerel, they score!
On Sportsnet 590, The Fan, and the Leafs Radio Network.
The Leafs to the power play for the fifth time in the game. And the draw in the circle to the right of Alex Nedeljkovic. Tavares wins the draw. Nylander near side for Riley. Back to Willie. Nylander sifts in but lost the handle on the puck, and it is quickly cleared by Pittsburgh. Isn't it a wonderful sport?
Some days, some years.
You think what we have watched over the last almost 3 periods of hockey. Down low, the Leafs again, centering pad. Oh, what a save. Another shot by Tavares. What a chance Tavares had. And a skate save by Nedeljkovic keeps the score at 6-love. Shot down the ice by Pittsburgh.
Well, what a great setup by Max Domi. I mean, it's on his stick, and he fires a hard pass across the crease. And I don't know how Nedeljkovic was able to get his right pad on it.
Here's Nylander in across the line. Back to Domi. Drops for Nylander. He tried to get a backdoor play there for Tavares. It didn't work. Marner works the right wing boards. Marner back to the blue line to Nylander. Nylander down into the half wall. Back of the net. Marner centering pass. Tavares couldn't settle it enough to get a shot away. And Tavares is upended. Penguins rattle it around the boards and down the ice. So 11 goals in the last
2 and a bit
40 minutes of play. The overtime had 3 minutes and change, so that's about what's left here. Puck to the side of the goal, deflected by Nedeljkovic. Penguins 20 seconds left in the penalty. Get it out at center. Broken up there by Connor Timmins. Timmins takes it back of the net and then finds Yarncrook. And the Leafs have a 3-on-2 rush if they pursue it. A pass then in for Robertson. Robertson carries into the corner, trying to set things up. Lost the puck, and it's swept around the boards, but it won't clear. Kept in by Nyes. Nyes sandwiched there, and it is cleared by Pittsburgh to center ice as the penalty has expired. 3:09 to play in the second period, and this game has been all about the blue and white. Leafs in over the line again. Shot off a stick as Gregor let it go, and it's caromed up into the screen and out of play. The last goal, Gregor's fifth from Bertuzzi and Timmins at 14:04. And the Leafs with a 6-0 lead on the Pittsburgh Penguins.
His value really isn't based on offense, but you and I have talked about Noah Gregor a lot this year. Been a fourth-line guy for the most part, but really seems to have noticeable shifts night in and night out. And he was bumped up to play with Willie Nylander and Austin Matthews when Nyes was out. Yet it didn't seem to click in the one game. Well, it was a Columbus game, and they switched them up again.
But in fairness, too, he hasn't... the Leafs forwards have not been the ones who have been hurt or sick until most recently. So there has been no real reason to move Noah Gregor up. But I agree. I mean, he is certainly capable of moving up and down the lineup at any time. Does a great job penalty killing as well as the puck comes back to the point in the Leaf zone, and a shot off a leg into the near corner. Penguins get it back at the net. Harkins back to the blue line. A shot right on. Another pad save made by Jones. And he has faced 26 Pittsburgh shots successfully. McMann shoots the puck in. He has celebrated his first ever NHL goal here this evening. 2 minutes to go in the period. Karlsson shoots it in for Pittsburgh. Around back NHL goal here this evening. 2 minutes to go in the period. Karlsson shoots it in for Pittsburgh. Around back into the far corner. Gunsel getting it freed up in front. Back to the point. Karlsson walks the line with it, and then has it stick handled out, and then stick handles in. Or it wasn't, no, it was Letang. I don't know how he could argue it. It was at least a foot and a half offside when he stick handled along the blue line.
I think he was upset, saying, look, Matthew Nyes lifted my stick. That's why the puck went back over the line. But they don't ask how it got there. Letang was the last one to touch it. 1:50 to go here in the second period. Pittsburgh out shooting the Leafs 27-25, but the Leafs outscoring the Penguins 6-0.
Connor Timmins picks up an assist on the Gregor goal. He has a personal career high now of a 5-game point streak. And Jake McCabe's got a nice 3-game point streak, which is equaling a career high, but has not gotten a point here tonight. Puck into the corner, back of the net. Tavares banging after it. Gunsel gets it around the boards, far side for John Ludwig. Ludwig got away from Nylander, comes in with a shot, blocked, rebound, and it was partially blocked there by Bertuzzi. At the point, Ludwig, far side, sharp angle try at Jones, and the veteran goaltender covers it up, and 3 Leafs go after a Penguin into the corner, who is giving Jones a couple of hacks.
Yeah, it's not the Penguin you want to be going after. This is going to lead to a couple of bench-clearing brawls, as it was Sidney Crosby looking for the rebound. John Tavares, and Crosby pushed up against the glass. By the way, it is the Penguins' father's trip. And we talked about how the Leafs enjoyed a 7-3 win at Madison Square Garden after losing in overtime to the Islanders.
Timmins and Tavares got right in there, and so did Ludwig. So coincident minor penalties here. Crosby
for slashing, I think the call was.
Timmins probably for roughing.
Or is it? Okay, there we got him up. Even now, because the defense had jumped down from the Leaf blue line. Pittsburgh defenseman, the faceoff is going to be to the outside, as the NHL discourages such scrums after the whistle.
Really? When did that happen?
When they brought in the rule where if you scrum by going down deep, there's a face-off outside.
So that really has curtailed it, has it?
We really got to start having meetings before a game, don't we? We'll go over all the rules.
Rules? There are rules?
Well, suggestions.
Oh, suggestions. All right. That's the suggestion book that they hand out then. Yes. Oh, good. Okay. Riley gets it ahead. 4-on-4 hockey here. Down into the corner goes David Camp. Taken into the far boards and back of the goal line, but it's pushed up on the wing, and less than a minute to go here in the period as Pettersson gets across the line for Pittsburgh. Dropping it back into the slot, holding in a shot, whistled high and wide, near side for Riley Smith. Back to the point, kept alive by the Penguins to Malkin. Evgeni Malkin into the slot. That went off a leg and went wide. Karlsson with it wide. Karlsson with it again. Far side. looking for a return pass and finding it, then on to Malkin. Malkin with a shot in traffic, pad save, 2 good saves made by Jones. And with Riley Smith right on the doorstep, Jones has been outstanding and just steady.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it helps when you're seeing the puck go in at the other end. But you go back to the game against Ottawa, remember, he gives up the goal, and then the Senators actually pull their goalie and have a power play. In the dying minutes of that game, the Leafs held on to a 1-goal victory. So he is, well, let's call them timely saves. And they made some saves in the first period to keep Pittsburgh off the board.
And now 6 seconds left in the period. Jake McCabe's going to circle back with Gunsel chasing him, and time will run out as they get tangled up a little bit, but no further play. So the Maple Leafs score 3 in the first and 3 in the second and go to the dressing room with a 6-0 lead.
Well, I don't think they're in there saying, boys, we know what happened on Thursday, but I still think it's in the back of your mind that you want to play a solid third period. No, Sheldon Keefe said that his message after falling down 5-0 to Columbus on Thursday night, it was let's go out, win a period, give our fans something in the third period. And I think he's going to want a similar effort here. Maybe not the 5 goals because it's not needed, but just control the period, control the pace of play, don't give away anything, and avoid any kind of disaster. Even, I mean, you don't want to win this game 7-4. No. Or 8-4 either. You want a nice, tidy, boring third period.
And support the goaltender in Martin Jones as well. We'll step aside. Second period intermission coming your way. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Let's go, football fans. This week on Let's Go with Tom Brady and Larry Fitzgerald and me, Jim Gray. Special guest is Rob Gronkowski.
Reminisce how badass we actually were on the field. Did anyone do it like us?
No one did it like us, man. We scored all over the place. No one else has ever done that before.
Robbie G had the route tree of a receiver. Unbelievable.
Listen to Let's Go every Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern on Mad Dog Sports Radio and anytime on the SiriusXM app. Let's go, baby.
Let's go. The best player analysts and insiders live on NHL Network Radio. Mike Johnson.
5-on-5 defensive game for Tampa is getting to the point, Gord, where it is a concern. And it's not just because Vasilevsky hasn't played the entire season. They're giving up almost 4 goals a game. No matter how good your offense is, that's not going to be able to be sustainable.
You have the latest opinion and analysis you need on the home of hockey, NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app. The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
It's between the Ken Hitchcock dots. And the Sens are too loosey-goosey there. They talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk. Ottawa's not like that. And until that part really improves, I don't believe they'll be a playoff team. They'll wow you. They'll wow the fans. They'll win or lose 5-4. But right now, they're middling right now. They're a middling hockey club.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app.
24/7 hockey talk.
One of the greatest goaltenders of all time. Patrick Waugh, when you put your hands up, did you know at that moment that you were done?
No, I did not. Unfortunately, it happened. Just gave me a chance to have a fresh start somewhere else and be traded to Colorado. It was a good opportunity. Sometimes you need that little, change, and it was welcome for me.
SiriusXM NHL Network Radio,
SiriusXM 91,
and on your schedule with the SiriusXM app.
The Point with Boomer Gordon.
18 months ago, I had new Flyers head coach John Tortorella. And I asked him what he was worried about the club, and he said, I don't like the room. We have a bad room. And I'm like, you haven't even coached this team yet. A year and a half later, John Tortorella loves his room. He loves this team, and he loves that they compete every night.
Point with Boomer Gordon. 1 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app. Under review.
And if someone says, well, he's good in the room, you know what? They don't have a good in the room stat in the standings. I've yet to find that category. It's one of the most overplayed things. They better be good in the room. That's the least you better bring when you join a National Hockey League team.
Under review with Mick Kern, 11 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app.
Hey Toronto, I'm David Morsuti, host of the daily Toronto Maple Leafs podcast, Locked On Leafs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network on the Sirius XM app. Every weekday, we bring you the latest Leafs news and analysis, break down all the action, including this game you're listening to right now, and preview the next one. We're giving you everything a Leafs fan could want, all in a daily 30-minute podcast. Download Locked On Leafs right now on the Sirius XM app, available with all trials and popular plans, or where you get your podcasts. Search Locked On Leafs.
The biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind, wrist the line, and walks in, put it between his legs, shoots it, score!
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM.
The Leafs Radio Network.
Six minutes to go, second period, and if you joined us late, it's been all Toronto, 5-0. Bertuzzi in front, shot, scores! Noah Gregor! 6-0 Toronto, and everyone's getting in on the act.
Welcome back to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. Justin Cuthbert and Gord Stellick. The Maple Leafs are on the path to turning in maybe their finest performance of the year, Gord. It's a great time in the building. The only thing the people inside here are missing, though, are the cutaways to Kyle Dubas and Jason Spezza reacting to all these goals that the Maple Leafs are scoring.
Yeah, he wouldn't make himself available to the media this morning. He dropped by, had a pleasant chat with many of us, I got to say, just impromptu, but... yeah, they're getting lots of it tonight as far as that goes. I got to tell you, Justin, that and I don't say things lightly because these guys all made the NHL, and a lot of the players on the Pittsburgh Penguins have won 2 Stanley Cups. This is their dad's trip. They've been playing a lot of ball hockey with their dads. That's what it's like tonight. I mean, Martin Jones has made some really good saves in a 6-0 game, but this is like a ball hockey game. The Leafs are getting the puck or the ball all the time. The Leafs are like twice as fast as the Penguins. I'm always surprised by this. The Penguins have outshot the Leafs 30-25, but there's no comparison, chances, puck movement, everything going on like that. I mean, just a dominant display and a very, very uncharacteristic from years gone by in that Pittsburgh Penguin team.
Yeah, definitely a group of sad dads consuming this one. And you mentioned 30 shots for the Penguins. It doesn't feel that way. I mean, the Maple Leafs have been full value for this 6-0 lead through 40 minutes. They've been very, very good. You mentioned ball hockey. I wonder if there was some hotel hockey between two former London Knights in Max Domi and Mitch Marner. Played together for 2 years, 2 years of overlap in the Ontario Hockey League. They probably weren't playing ball hockey in the O. That was just like a minor hockey
thing
that we were doing. But yeah, those two have struck an instant chemistry. Max Domi looks like he's taken it to a next level tonight. I'm not sure what the impetus is there. Probably that he's playing with better players is helping him out a bit. But Domi and Marner have been highly, highly profitable. And part of that profit has been a Gordie Howe hat trick for Matthew Nyes, who has rounded out that trio tonight.
Yeah, first for a rookie since Matt Fratton, and then the first since 2015 for a Leaf in general, a goal, assist, and a major. Keep in mind that Mike Babcock era, they had 3 fights a year. So the fights, you remember, they had 3 majors about a season, in all honesty. So that's why a major penalty wasn't very common to come by. But Austin Matthews took rushes this morning. So his illness developed this afternoon. So these guys didn't even practice together. Now, they would have played together, played shinny together, played junior together. But we mentioned before the game, great opportunity for Max Domi to be in a positive situation. Seized it from the word go. I mean, that line set the tempo, including Matthew Nyes, who'd been hurt or been sick a bit and looking to get going. They set the tempo. And then, Justin, every other line that comes out is playing like they're Matthews and Marner. Like all of a sudden, Noah Gregor is all these guys are coming out, and all of a sudden they're like first lines. Nick Robertson, the fourth line's like the first line. Which in the playoffs, the great teams, there's a consistency about line after line after line, and that's what the Maple Leafs have had tonight. 2
goals and 5 points between Marner and Domi, and you're right, everyone's getting in on the act. John Tavares added a power play goal. Noah Gregor scored, but it was, you mentioned it, everyone's ball hockey. Tyler Bertuzzi, it's not putting you on a poster, but it might have been the hockey equivalent to Sidney Crosby. I mean, absolutely turned him inside out before setting up Noah Gregor. So everyone's getting in on the act. It's definitely a feel-good type of night for the Maple Leafs. We'll continue talking about this 40 minutes, and we'll get into Martin Jones because he's been very, very good tonight. We'll do that after the break. You're listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
NHL All-Star Thursday is coming to Toronto.
with 3 exciting events in one star-filled night. First, celebrity captains select their teams in the Tim Hortons NHL All-Star Player Draft. Then, the 1967 Stanley Cup champion Maple Leafs are honored in the NHL Alumni Man of the Year. And finally, the best in women's hockey compete in the Canadian Tire PWHL 3-on-3 Showcase. It's NHL All-Star Thursday on February 1st. Buy tickets now starting at $44 at NHL.com/Thursday.
From the biggest stadiums to the coziest holes in the wall. From house parties to porch hangs to pride celebrations. From your favorite fuzz shop to your local Indian spot. From noodle bars to sports bars to salsa bars. There's a Molson with your name on it. Canadian Ultra XL. Molson. Everyone in. Must be legal drinking age.
Truck.ca. So when you gotta move, all moving day. Think 2-minute truck.ca. Cause all of us movers are not the same. So that's our company name, 2-minute truck.ca. We're lots of men with lots of trucks, so give us a call today.
Unhibernate, a verb. To laugh in the face of snow because you drive a Subaru. As in, when I unhibernate, I have the roads all to myself because my Subaru has symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive and others don't. Or, the award-winning safety in my Subaru means I can unhibernate all winter while my neighbors stare longingly from their bedroom windows. Or my favorite usage, I am going to unhibernate this winter by visiting my local Subaru dealer today. Welcome to Uncommon Winter Confidence.
At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. That's why we've introduced Same Game Parlay Plus. It's a game changer. Making a same game parlay across different games has never been easier because the biggest games and most popular markets are now all in one place. Check out Same Game Parlay Plus and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit connectsontario.ca.
Move up to Heathwood. Hi, I'm Hugh Heron. Experience true luxury at Williamsburg Green in Kitchener. Heathwood's all-brick single-family homes come with a long list of features you've always dreamed of. Gourmet kitchens, freestanding tubs, and even fully finished lower levels. Dare to compare and you'll see why it's time to move up to Heathwood. Learn more at heathwood.com.
You're listening to Toronto Maple Leafs hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
Welcome back to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. Justin Cuthbert and Gord Stellick. Gord, if it continues at this rate and Kyle Dubas has some free time in April, the Maple Leafs might have to invest in a ticket package for him because the team seems pretty inspired to play in front of Kyle Dubas tonight.
Yeah, just first of all, last year when they talked about, oh my goodness, like will Austin Matthews re-up, hey, Kyle Dubas, I think, had a great relationship with the players. They don't care who the GM is, okay? I mean, they like him, but they move on about their own situation. It was getting a little absurd. I don't think they particularly had any vitriol about it. Maybe others in the organization aren't minding this, but yeah, you're right. I mean, hey, the Pittsburgh Penguins have to make the playoffs. There's 25 teams that expect to make the playoffs. 9 are going to be really pissed off, okay? Yep. And they're one of the 25. And the Leafs obviously are one of the 25, and it should be a no-brainer about making the playoffs. A lot of people go, why don't they have more nights like this at home? I don't mean 6-0, but having home ice, making it a tough place to play, and being a little bit more home and cooled out like they were last year at this time in the regular season.
Yeah, the Penguins, interestingly, I mean, they look far from a playoff team tonight. I guess this is only one night, of course, but they are second to last in the Metropolitan. They look like a flawed roster right now. So, worth tracking, of course, throughout the rest of the season. But tonight, at least, it looks like a mismatch. And even if the Maple Leafs are down to their third goaltender, it doesn't look like they would be a fish out of water. Martin Jones is unblemished through 30 shots right now, but he looks so cool. He's turning in a really, really quality performance tonight.
Yeah, and of course, any goaltender would say, please get me 6 goals. That'd be my favorite way to goaltend in the NHL. his saves are really understated because unlike Samsonov, where there's a lot of movement in that, he's been really cool, and there's been some very difficult saves. But to your point earlier, the Leafs have dominated this game. The chances aren't even close in their favor, but Martin Jones has done what is right as far as keeping the score at 0. Chris Letang really whining. Got a 10-minute misconduct. Sidney Crosby getting, he's got a lot of pride. Being down 6-0 in Toronto, hockey mecca, it gets to them. And then you saw him jab at Martin Jones for the extra shot. Now, he plays that way, but good on Tavares and Timmins, like going right at him. Doesn't matter, it's Sidney Crosby. So that kind of stuff, when Liljegren got hurt, and it wasn't so forthcoming, that subtle thing that should have, or not so subtle, you see it, how it's enveloped the team. And tonight, just that kind of all hands on deck about, the right kind of response to when your goaltender's taking an extra shot, even if the perpetrator's Sidney Crosby.
Yeah, the proper response for Tavares in that case, and 8 shots on the night through 2 periods. It's been a high-volume effort so far from the Maple Leaf captain. Let's get to the NHL scoreboard presented by Bet365. Visit the app for the latest odds and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 18 plus. Ontario only. Play responsibly. The Wild beat the Canucks 2-1 today in a shootout. The Jets are up 3-1 on the Avalanche in the third period. Flyers up 1-0 on the Red Wings in the third period. Canadians up 4-1 on the Islanders. 5-2 Devils over the Blue Jackets in the third. Rangers trailing the Bruins 1-0 end of second. 2-2 Stars and Blues in the second period. Predators up 1-0 on the Capitals. And it is scoreless early going. Sabres and Coyotes. The Oilers will host the Panthers later on tonight. Joe Bowen and Jim Ralph will have the call for the third period next. You're listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
The fantasy football playoffs are here. Touchdown! In one of the most chaotic fantasy football seasons ever, you need Fantasy Sports Radio's experts to guide you to a championship.
Thank you guys for making me a better fantasy player.
From start-sit advice to how to pivot from a key injury, set a winning lineup with the best insight from our experts.
Patrick Mahomes against the Patriots, I'm expecting big-time points.
It's all on Fantasy Sports Radio, Channel 87, and the Sirius XM app, where fantasy football championships are won.
Under review.
And if someone says, well, he's good in the room, you know what? They don't have a good in the room stat in the standings. I've yet to find that category. It's one of the most overplayed things. They better be good in the room. That's the least you better bring when you join a National Hockey League team.
Under review with Mick Kerr, 11 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
Hey Toronto, I'm David Morsuti, host of the daily Toronto Maple Leafs podcast, Locked On Leafs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network on the Sirius XM app. Every weekday, we bring you the latest Leafs news and analysis, break down all the action, including this game you're listening to right now, and preview the next one. We're giving you everything a Leafs fan could want, all in a daily 30-minute podcast. Download Locked On Leafs right now on the Sirius XM app, available with all trials and popular plans, or where you get your podcasts. Search Locked On Leafs.
If you're a soccer fan, you know that this music means one thing. The Champions League is on Sirius XM FC.
Hat-trick for Erling Haaland. Kane scores!
The top teams from around Europe are battling for club soccer's holy grail.
Real Madrid 2, what they do best.
In a world of endless scrolling,
where do the real stories get their moment?
Joe Bowen along with Jim Ralph and our very special guest, Rene Van Kessel from the Canadian Armed Forces on Armed Forces Night. And it's been a little bit of the Army, a little bit of the Navy because of the ice and the water, but a lot of the Air Force involved in a 6-0 Toronto advantage here after 2 periods of play.
And you were wondering, how are they going to respond after the Columbus game? I mean, they were forward for 40 minutes, epic comeback. They just fall short. How do you respond? And I think Sheldon Keefe is rather impressed and will be satisfied, especially when you learn just before the game or the afternoon before the game that Austin Matthews and TJ Brody are not going to be available due to illness.
Well, the Leafs to the right, Penguins to the left. Leafs and Penguins a man short as they play 4-on-4, and it is Punched out into the center ice area for Tavares. Cross the line to Nylander. Rink wide to Morgan Rielly. A shot. Tavares the rebound. And he fired it just wide. Nylander holding at the blue line, but lost the puck, and now here's Malkin trying to break, and Willie's chasing him down. Good play by Nylander. He went stride for stride with the big Penguin and was able to knock it away, and now the Leafs get it out at center ice. Give the puck away, you better be pretty motivated to get it back, and Willie Nylander showed you right there his ability to skate. Letang back in his own zone. Got it out at center, broken up there by Timmins. Sent back now to Letang. He comes to the red line and will pepper it down into the Leaf end. Slowed up by McCabe, who got it back and comes in front of the goal. Knocked away by the Leafs, though, and quickly played up on the left wing. And here's Noah Gregor closing in on goal. Took a shot. Scores!
Waved off.
They waved it off. They're waving it off.
They might look at this, though, Joe, and count it. Because it was Karlsson from behind that lifted the stick and pushed Gregor into the goaltender. Gregor's trying to cut from the top of the crease, and it's actually Karlsson that makes more contact with the goaltender than Gregor did.
We had no goal on the play.
Is it worth it for the Leafs to challenge at this point? But I mean,
if they hadn't seen a lead disappear in the game before, you might say no. But I think they might.
Yeah, I mean, this is.
I don't know if Gregor even made contact.
Yeah, I think his skates a little bit, but he's being forced in by Karlsson, and then it's Karlsson that has the biggest impact with the Delkovich.
Well, they're not going to.
Yeah, this might be a sportsmanship move as much as anything. As a face-off will come outside the line.
And a hat tossed on a little prematurely. No one's even close to a hat trick here, but all right. But another great move by Noah Gregor.
Using his speed, using the size to drive to the front of the net.
Played down into the Pittsburgh zone, swept around the boards on the near side, and now here's Jeff Carter getting the puck out at center. Timmins takes his man wide and in along the boards as it comes back to the point. Karlsson dishes off on the left wing side, and a drive right into the pads of Jones, and now a penalty coming here against Toronto. Back to the point. Letang for Karlsson. Back into the pads of Jones, and now a penalty coming here against Toronto. Back to the point. Letang for Karlsson. Back to Karlsson on the right wing. Comes back to the point now to Malkin. Fished over on the far side. Shot from a sharp angle was blocked. Cleared out and down the ice. And the Penguins are going to go back for it. Still 6 attackers on the ice for Pittsburgh on a delayed penalty. Malkin gets it up on the wing, intercepted there at the blue line by Robertson, and here's the call. Be the third power play opportunity of the game for Pittsburgh.
Well, last time they had a power play, they ended up down 2 men after it expired. They took 2 penalties after taking it. Yeah, I mean, you know what? The reason this puck goes in the net, looking at the replay once again, it's Erik Karlsson's contact with the Delkovich that spins him around.
Penguins on the power play. Domi in the box. Shot deflects off a leg to the far boards. Crosby sends it back on the wing. Grabbed by Puustinen around on the near side now for Malkin. Malkin back to the side of the goal, back out in front of the net, and a shot taken, swallowed, and knocked away, and the Leafs are going to bat it to the line, but not out. Malkin on the right wing, down low, pass in front of the net, intercepted by Toronto, and shot down the ice by Yarncrook. Crosby goes back. Crosby to center, in across the line, drops it off. Puustinen sends it around the boards, and it's going to slide all the way down into Pittsburgh territory. A drop pass now, and on comes Malkin. His pass intercepted by the Leafs. Snapped out and down the ice by Toronto. A very impressive penalty kill thus far by the Maple Leafs.
Maybe just a tad of lack of motivation for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Not a lot of urgency in this power play.
New York Rangers in town next for the Maple Leafs. Round on the boards, fed into the corner by Riley Smith. Comes back on the far half boards. Controlled half boards. Controlled again by Pittsburgh. Second unit on for the Penguins to the near side for Lars Eller. Eller gets it back into the slot. Letang on the wing and across nicely and really squared up. Down in the butterfly, but square was Martin Jones, and he makes what is not an easy save look fairly routine.
And nothing leaking through either. Rebound control has been outstanding. And what a difference a week makes. A week ago, Ilya Samsonov had shut out the Nashville Predators. And everybody thought that was going to be the kickstart to get him back on track.
Shot from the point, gobbled, knocked down, Jones down, puck goes wide of the net. 16 seconds left in the power play. Fed back in along the boards by Harkins. Now Crosby gets it back to the blue line once more. Return to Crosby, across ice for Letang. Shooting down low, deflection by Gunsel was not made. Back to the point, Kusitin gets it back into the corner. Centering pass out of the box is Domi. Down low and a pass across. Doesn't go, and now Domi is going to be able to skate the puck out at center and send it off on the left wing. Drop pass and a long shot taken by Benoit is caught by Alex Nedeljkovic and held for a face-off in Pittsburgh territory. We played 4 minutes and 22 seconds into the third period, and the Maple Leafs with a comfortable 6-0 lead.
Well, looking at the one save that Martin Jones made, a wrist shot from the top of the left wing circle. You could see from ice level it was a screenshot until the last second, but Martin Jones was able to track it through the maze.
Played out at center ice. Riley gets it up on the wing to Tavares, and the captain sends it into the Pittsburgh end. The Leafs looking to win for the 9th time on home ice and the 16th time on the season, and 38 points to be put into the jar at this particular point in the season. Out at center ice, now Nylander. Right wing pass to Riley off the goal post. Second time the Leaf defenseman has wrung iron. Penguins get it back down into the Toronto zone. Nylander turns back in his own end. The Leafs trying to get their 38th point. They're currently tied with Florida with 36 and move closer to the Boston Bruins. Are tied with Florida with 36 and move closer to the Boston Bruins. McCabe couldn't get it out. Leafs will try it again on the other side, and Nick Robertson backhands it deep into Pittsburgh territory. Not sure what they're chanting.
I believe it's the Pittsburgh general manager's name.
Oh, very good. Okay. Kyle Dubas here.
However, I should take note that a lot of the players who are cheering for tonight were brought here by Kyle Dubas.
Yes, indeed.
Or signed.
Indeed. And it was a bizarre end to his tenure here, wasn't it?
Yeah. Looked like he was coming back, and then said if he didn't, it's not like he'd pop up anywhere else. And both
didn't
happened.
take long.
Wasn't back and ended up in Pittsburgh.
Benoit shot, deflects wide, back of the net, wrapped around attempt by Bertuzzi, thwarted there. Cleared backhand by the Penguins up on the right wing boards. Riley Smith can't get out of the zone. And now Bertuzzi trying to free it up for Tavares as it goes back of the net. Nylander in pursuit. Benoit punches down the boards to keep it alive, but the Penguins under control now get it out at center. A rolling puck to the far side. Timmins just tips it out over the line using that as a barrier, and the Penguins are going to shoot it right back down into the Leaf end and get a change going. Played 6.5 minutes into the third. Still 6-0 Toronto. Timmins gets to the red line, and in it goes. Penguins go back after it. Karlsson sends it around on the wall. It bounces out at center ice. Stolen back by Toronto. Played up on the wing by Gregor. And McMann taken to the board, or at least Camp taken to the boards. Puck comes back to the blue line. Kept in with Karlsson's shot. That was stopped. Kicked out now, and then Riley gets it out at center. Played off a leg and down into the Pittsburgh end. Camp in pursuit. Around the boards it'll go to Marcus Pettersson. Pettersson gets it out. Stolen nicely there and offside. As Nyes made a nice play to intercept the puck, but when he sent it in over the line, David Camp was trapped well inside the zone for the offside. Nyes, Marner, McMann, Domi, Tavares, Gregor. It's been spread around. 6-0 Toronto. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590, The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
The Dodgers get Shohei Ohtani.
When the sports world is talking, nobody gives you more perspectives than the experts of SiriusXM.
10 years, $700 million. That's insane.
Hear instant reaction on Mad Dog Sports Radio.
Shohei Ohtani is Babe Ruth, only better.
Expert analysis on MLB Network Radio.
I'm not sure that all of the contracts that I ever negotiated even total $700 million.
Where the players join the discussion.
Will Smith, Dodgers catcher.
He's the best player in baseball.
Live sports talk when you need it on SiriusXM and the SiriusXM app.
The best player analysts and insiders live on NHL Network Radio. Mike Johnson.
5-on-5 defensive game for Tampa is getting to the point, Gord, where it is a concern. And it's not just because Vasilevsky hasn't played the entire season. They're giving up almost 4 goals a game. No matter how good your offense is, that's not going to be able to be sustainable.
Get the latest opinion and analysis you need on the home of hockey, NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app. The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
It's between the Ken Hitchcock dots. And the Sens are too loosey-goosey there. They talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk. Ottawa's not like that. And until that part really improves, I don't believe they'll be a playoff team. They'll wow you. They'll wow the fans. They'll win or lose 5-4. But right now, they're middling right now. They're a middling hockey club.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91.
Radio Network.
Armin Zagarian, along with the big fellow over here running the operation with us. Tom Young is back at Command Central.
You talking about me or Andrew?
No. Take the pick.
What's that?
The big fella?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you know what?
Guy.
Big guy.
The big guy.
Numero uno.
That's me.
I don't know, right? Actually, it's Andrew. But anyway, okay. And across the line and sent in there by the Leafs and in around the boards. Robertson's out in front of the net, hoping for a loose puck from Bobby McMann. Pinching down is Timmins to get it back to the blue line. Robertson mishandled the puck, and the Penguins get it out at center. Now just slide it into Leaf territory. Quickly played by Jones up on the left wing, and now here's the Leafs getting to center. Holmberg couldn't get in over the line. Brought right back in by Harkins. Penguins into the corner. Knocked down there by Benoit was Harkins. Round on the wall, it'll come to the near side. Backhanded back into the corner and the near side as well. The scramble goes on. Leafs get the puck freed up. Benoit punching it up on the wing. McMann didn't get it past the pinching defenseman. The Leafs are going to try the other side. Timmins sweeping it up, and it'll go off a Pittsburgh player into the center ice area. 11:42 to play in the third. Leafs with a long shoot-in. But the only thing that seemed to have handcuffed Martin Jones, it was a long shoot-in. He gets the blocker on it, but when it falls down off the blocker, it looked like it was going to start to trickle between his legs, and he had to get down there quickly, and he kind of looked a little awkward getting the glove on it.
Yeah, it was tumbling when it hit the ice, and there was a little bit of forward spin on it, which was propelling it between his legs, so looked like it had handcuffed him a little. Although, if you're going to give up one like that, this might be the perfect circumstance for it.
Penguins back in across the line, but it's knocked by the Leafs back out at center ice. Riley Smith.
6-0 lead halfway through the third is what I meant by it.
Letang. I understood that. You don't think the listener understood that?
Well, now that you understood it, then probably that does.
Played in by Noah Gregor. Good point by you.
The explanation was for your benefit.
Here are the Penguins with Ludwig in across the line. Rink wide for Letang. Letang back into the slot area, and a shot was blocked. It comes to Ludwig, and now we get a penalty.
High sticking penalty is going to the Penguins.
And Jake McCabe being inspected, but he seems to be all right.
Is this Malkin again? And Malkin again kind of waved the referee off. And it's a double minor. It's going to be 4 minutes for Malkin. So as much as you don't like it, there was obviously DNA evidence. Boy, this was nothing. I don't know how McCabe got cut on this. I mean, this looked like something like brushing a fly off your shoulder. Did not look like anything that serious. And looking at the power play, Sheldon Keefe is not going to try. Well, yeah, McCabe is cut, but it looked like something that was very, very harmless in front of the net. Malkin got to stick up a little.
No, you're right. Bertuzzi, Timmins, Robertson, Yarncrook out to start the power play for Toronto. Yarncrook trying to slip it into the corner. Letang frees it up, and Drew O'Connor will send it down the ice. Leafs are 2 for 5 on the power play thus far. And the goal scorers there have been the last two, Tavares and Gregor. Played down into the corner. Nyes trying to free it up. And Robertson has it knocked away. Letang's going to backhand it ahead. Drew O'Connor trying to drive wide. Goes to the side of the goal. And then fired the puck wide of the net and around the boards. It'll come out at center. Brought on by Bertuzzi. Bertuzzi trying to slide through the defense and just failed to carry the puck with him. Kept in at the point by Pontus Holmberg. Into the corner for Robertson. Back to the blue line. Got it back from Liljegren. Near side Holmberg. Doesn't shoot it. Back to the point. It goes to Liljegren. Far side Robertson. He faked the shot. Then let it go. Went off the glove of Nedeljkovic. Cleared to the line but not out. Right back into the slot area again. Leafs play it off on the near wing. Trying to get it into the corner was Holmberg. Played around back of the net. Ryan Graves is going to send it out and down the ice for Pittsburgh, but the Leafs bring it right back in again. Holmberg on the left wing. Rung around to the far side. Chip to the line. Controlled there nicely by Camp. Camp gets it into the near corner. Second power play will start in the 23-second left in the first one here as Holmberg gets it back to the point. Liljegren to Holmberg. Holmberg into the slot, winds, shoots. Ow, that hit somebody in front of the net. The Leafs have it again. Pontus Holmberg fans on a pass. Got some assistance, though, to follow up on it by Bobby McMann. McMann to the far side, now back to Liljegren. Returned on the far wing, holding and trying to get a shot away. It comes back to Liljegren. Down on the left wing, Holmgren in front of the net. That was blocked. Rebound back to the net. Holmberg trying to free it up as it goes into the corner. And this third Leaf power play unit has been dynamite. Gregor on the wing and a one-timer that didn't work. And now, finally, Pittsburgh gets it out at center ice. Minute 34 left in the double minor, but it's eaten into the clock here in the third period with 8:22 left to play.
And Max Domi must be saying, what did I do wrong that I'm not getting power play time now?
Now here's Robertson. Got it ahead. Yarncrook into the zone. Stops up. Got it back to the blue line. Timmins walks the line. Still with it. Got a shot away. That was deflected wide. Grabbed off by Bertuzzi. Bertuzzi against the boards. Back it goes to Timmins. Down low again. Got a chance in front for Nyes. And it was deflected just past him before he could tap it into an empty net.
I think Mike Sullivan, the Penguin coach, will be quietly thankful for Sheldon Keefe not rolling out Tavares and Marner at this time.
Although The other group has had a couple
no,
great
they have, but I mean...
But you don't have the stars.
Yeah.
You're right, absolutely. Here's Nyes, works in over the line. His drop pass went on to a Pittsburgh stick, and it is shot down the ice with 25 seconds left in the double minor to Malkin.
The other side of it is guys on the second and third units have played well enough in this game to earn the power play time.
Liljegren slides into the offensive zone, sends it around for Noah Gregor. Back it goes. Liljegren leaves it for Gregor, but he's too well covered on the far boards. Kept in at the point, though. Near side for Morgan Riley, who's out there. His shot doesn't make it through. Out of the penalty box is Malkin, and he'll get a lead pass at center and start down the right wing boards. Too well covered. Sends it back into the slot area in the center ice zone for Crosby. Out back in on the left wing for Gunsel. Gunsel gets it back to the point. Shot in traffic. And caught and held confidently by Martin Jones. 6.5 minutes to go, third period. It is the Leafs 6, the Pittsburgh Penguins nothing. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. That's why we've introduced Same Game Parlay Plus. It's a game changer. Making a same game parlay across different games has never been easier because the biggest games and most popular markets are now all in one place. Check out Same Game Parlay Plus and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit connectsontario.ca.
Move up to Heathwood. Hi, I'm Hugh Heron. Experience a new level of luxury at Williamsburg Green. Your new single-family home will have all the modern features you dream about, even a fully finished lower level. Kitchener's newest master planned community with bike trails, parks and a new library. Williamsburg Green has it all. It's time to move up to Heathwood. Learn more at heathwood.com.
There are many peculiar words in the English language. Words like salivigant, peregrinate, nemophilus, peripatetic, and conviviality. Yet, there is no word for getting the most out of winter in your Subaru, thanks to symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive and X-Mode. Until now. We call it unhibernate, as in while your neighbors stay home, you'll be unhibernating all winter in your Subaru. So peregrinate to your local Subaru dealer today, and welcome to uncommon winter confidence.
You're listening to Toronto Maple Leafs hockey.
Y'all ready?
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
It has been all Toronto. A 6-0 lead. 3 goals in the first. Nyes, Marner, and McMann. His first ever in the NHL. Domi, Tavares, and Gregor in the second. Somewhere mixed in there is a Gordie Howe hat trick for
Matthew
Nyes.
I'm going to ask you this, test your memory. Thursday night with 6 minutes left, were there more people in the building then? Or are there now? And I'm being serious.
No, I've just taken a look, and a lot of people have said we're going to beat the traffic here because, as you know, the Don Valley Parkway is just wide open these days.
Yes.
It's such an easy trip up there to get up north.
That's why I was upset they came back Thursday. I go, no, people are going to stay now.
Played into the corner.
It's all about us.
Yes, it is. Crosby back to the point, gets a return pass, sends it off on the right wing side. That is partially blocked, and the Leafs trying to play it up the boards, and now it is Timmins sending it around on the far wing. Long lead pass. Nylander to Bertuzzi. Closing in on goal. A pass into Nylander, and they score. It was a gimme. Great pass by Bertuzzi, and Willie taps it home to make it 7.
Well, the All-Star Game will be here in February, and we're going to see a lot of plays like this. 2 guys just holding on to a 2-on-1 from the blue line in. Erik Karlsson with the half stab at it. That's exactly what it looked like, didn't it? Looked like an All-Star Game goal.
Yep.
Everybody's going half speed. And it's Willie Nylander finishes it off, just taps it into the empty net.
15th of the season for Nylander. Bertuzzi has a tidy little 3-point night. All assists. And the Leafs have a 7-0 laugher on their hands here against the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Pittsburgh had only given up 6 goals once. And that was the game against Detroit early in the season. So this is a season high for the Penguins. Their goaltending has been fantastic up till now.
Well, 33 shots and 7 goals. Centering pass. Letang hits the side of the goal on the short side. One bit of business to try to get accomplished here as the Leafs get it out at center. And now here's Noah Gregor just playing it in deep into the Pittsburgh zone.
Now, how many goals would you say, though, were bad goals? Leafs have scored a lot of pretty goals in this game.
I can't think of one, to be honest with you, Jeff, to be honest. McCabe draws an additional assist, and so that point streak gets to a career-high 4 games.
And he had a huge goal Thursday night to make it 5-3.
And a couple of huge hits. And the puck goes into the Toronto bench and out of play.
And one thing I was tracking, because Max Domi has been so good tonight, we'll get back to you after the break.
All right.
Just update the stats here.
7-0 Toronto. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Hey, it's Andy Cohen, and the Radio Andy Holiday Hangout with me and Amy Sedaris is back. Get Amy's one-of-a-kind crafting and gift advice for the holidays, like what to get it done.
Shower caps and raisins.
Need a gift for a college graduate? Or need advice on how to entertain the elderly?
Toss a balloon back and forth. Get those arms up and reach.
The Radio Andy Holiday Hangout throughout the weekend on Radio Andy, SiriusXM 102, or listen on the SiriusXM app.
24/7 hockey talk.
One of the greatest goaltenders of all time. Patrick Waugh, when you put your hands up, did you know at that moment that you were done?
No, I did not. Unfortunately, it happened. Just gave me a chance to have a fresh start somewhere else and be traded to Colorado was a good opportunity. Sometimes you need that little, change, and it was welcome for me.
SiriusXM NHL Network Radio.
SiriusXM 91.
And on your schedule with the SiriusXM app. The Point with Boomer Gordon.
18 months ago, I had new Flyers head coach John Tortorella. And I asked him what he was worried about the club, and he said, I don't like the room. We have a bad room. And I'm like, you haven't even coached this team yet. A year and a half later, John Tortorella loves his room. He loves this team, and he loves that they compete every night.
Point with Boomer Gordon. 1 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app.
Join me, Scott Laughlin, and Gord Stellick, along with former NHLer Mike Johnson for NHL Morning Skate. Weekday morning, 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91.
Radio Network.
Hey.
4 minutes and 28 seconds left to play in the third period, and the Toronto Maple Leafs have a 7-0 lead over the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Well, third time the Leafs have hit the 7-goal mark, second time in 3 games. Actually, pretty good stretch offensively, isn't it? 19 goals for the Leafs in 3 games, including a 7-3 win over the New York Rangers, and of course the comeback against Columbus where they scored 5 in the third. Still lost in overtime, but 5-goal game for the Leafs.
Draw one by Pittsburgh. Played off a stick to center. And Benoit will dish it off on the right wing side. Timmins gets it ahead. Pontus Holmberg trying to get it in deep. Takes it to the far boards. McMann tried to cue it down into the corner. Gets it a little deeper. It comes back to the point. Timmins with a long shot. High off the glass and wide of the goal. Benoit sends it around the boards for Robertson. Robertson couldn't get it in front cleanly. Penguins are going to get control of it. Hinostroza turns back in his own zone. Joseph to the far side. A lead pass out of the reach of its intended receiver. David Camp had to go off his skate, and Pittsburgh sends it back into Toronto territory. Lagesson around the boards, and now here's Camp striding out at center. Played it ahead. Gregor in on the right side. A little move on the inside, but he couldn't pull the trigger on the shot. And he'll get back into the back-checking role as it's brought by Chris Letang in on the right side. A long shot over top of the net. Bounce to the line, not out. But the Leafs have ample opportunity to clear, and they do get it to center ice. Haven't seen Max Domi on the ice in a while.
No, I was going to say that. And
it's too late. I just did.
Well, I was going to say it because I've been tracking his ice time. That's what I was going to say before we went to the commercial break. That he was on pace to have his highest ice time of the season.
But not now.
Not now.
No.
He was not out for any of the 4-minute power play. In fact, his highest ice time totals of the season was the game that the Leafs played in Boston against the Bruins, an overtime loss. They played over 15 minutes.
Face-off with 2:59 left in the third period in the Pittsburgh zone.
12 minutes and 10 seconds, by the way, is Max Domi's ice time for tonight.
3 goals in the first, 3 in the second, 1 in the third.
There's Max.
There he is. All right, he's got the puck now in the Toronto zone. Plays it up on the wing. Bertuzzi hammers it out at center. Knocked down by Nyes. Fed to an open wing. Liljegren thought about creeping up there. Got it ahead. Knocked it in over the line. 2.5 minutes to go in the third. Brought back now by Karlsson. Karlsson to the line and in. Had it knocked off his stick. Bertuzzi launching it on the backhand. Gets it back into Pittsburgh territory. A little bit of defensive work needs to be done here by the boys in blue. Batted out at center again by Toronto. Karlsson, rink-wide pass onto the stick of the Leaf defense. Timmins plays it to the Pittsburgh blue line. Penguins send it back for Gunsel. Gunsel's pass goes astray. William Lagesson pounds it on the glass and gets it high into Pittsburgh territory. Minute 50 to go in a 7-0 Toronto victory coming here. Pass blocked. Leafs keep the puck in at the blue line. Connor Timmins with a long shot, eye high by goaltender Alex Nedeljkovic, and he will hold on for a face-off in the Pittsburgh end.
Connor Timmins has looked sharper every game, too, since coming back from the injury, which is a huge plus for the Leafs. You talk about the help they might need on the blue line. Obviously, TJ Brody out with the flu tonight. Mark Giordano's still out with a broken finger. But you get Liljegren back tonight. Connor Timmins, who had been out since training camp, has been back for a couple of weeks now.
Draw one by Toronto. Shot just off the mark wide by Benoit. He gets a second opportunity. Drives it at the net. That was deflected by Gregor. And it is covered up. And a face-off coming. We want to thank Rennie Van Kessel, who has been representing the armed forces here. Have a fun night.
I had a great night. Thank you so much for hosting us.
And over at the other side, a lot of the folks in the armed forces, I bet they're having just a wonderful
They
time.
are indeed. They're enjoying it immensely.
Are they under strict orders as far as alcohol content or anything like that? Or are they on duty, or are they having a time?
They're having a bit of a time, but they all know how to take care of themselves. They're professionals, after all.
Just like Ralphie and I.
Exactly.
only they work for it. They deserve it.
Yeah, they do. Well, we can't thank you enough for being a part of it. We thank you for your service. We thank everybody here. This is, I say, our favorite night. A shot there on goal, stopped by Jones. Played around the boards with just a minute to go in the third period. Back of the net, Carter plays it into the corner. Camp couldn't come up with it. Lars Eller back to the point. A shot steered wide of the goal by Jones. 36 shots on goal for Pittsburgh. Leafs need to get the puck out, and they do. Chip it to the line. Now can they get it a little deeper into the zone as it's tied up on the boards? 30 seconds left to go in the game. Penguins have it back in their own zone. There'll be one last rush and foray into the Leaf end. Around back of the net. Centering pass comes back to the point. A whistling drive there by Ludwig went wide of the goal. 16 seconds. It's out at center and down into the Pittsburgh end. And that should do it. Martin Jones, for the third time, will shut out the Pittsburgh Penguins in his career. And for the 29th time in his career, a whitewash for Martin Jones, but his first in a Leaf uniform.
Well, Martin Jones, absolutely perfect. 38 for 38 on the night. The Leafs end up scoring 7 on 34 shots against the Penguins goaltending duo. But from a Leaf standpoint, it was about some of the lesser lights getting big opportunities and coming through big time. We talked about Max Domi. We hardly saw Mitch Marner, John Tavares in the third period as well. And I think that's Sheldon Keefe rewarding the other players who helped build the 7-0 lead, not trying to embarrass the Penguins at the same time, and skate off with a 7-0 lead. A nice bounce back after the loss in overtime to Columbus.
A night that the Maple Leafs did not have Austin Matthews in the lineup. They score 7. 3 stars tonight.
Well, I'm going to go Max Domi, star number 1. A goal and 3 points on the night. Got the Leafs off to a great start. Martin Jones, star number 2, stopping all 38 shots he faced back-to-back Saturdays. The Leafs have shutting out the opposition on home ice. Star number 3, I'm going to go Matthew Nyes. First goal and 9 for him.
Gordie Howe hat-trick.
2-point night. Yeah, the Gordie Howe hat-trick, which is a rarity now in the National Hockey League. And he had that, early in the second period, wasn't it?
Early in the second period. At 2:28 of the second period when he picked up the assist after he had the goal and the fight in the first period. So the Leafs will entertain the New York Rangers next. We hope that you will join us at that time. The post-game show coming up now with Justin Cuthbert and Gord Stellick as the Leafs win a laugher here against the Penguins by a score of 7-0. You've been listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
You've been listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
There's a Molson with your name on it.
This league's crazy right now. This thing is all up in the air.
When it happens in the NFL, we're reacting to it on SiriusXM NFL Radio.
Travis Kelce. This dude sees the game differently and at a much higher level than a lot of people out there running around playing.
Get closer to the game with interviews with players, coaches, and executives.
Hall of Fame quarterback Troy Aikman joining us.
Dak has always had all of the intangibles, and it's why I've always had so much respect for him.
Nobody covers the game like SiriusXM NFL Radio, Channel 88.
What's up, Leafs fans? Another awesome night here on TSI. Thank you to each and every one of you for hanging out with us. Please don't forget to hit that like button as it helps bring more Leafs fans into the chat. The more the better. A big shout out to our insiders and VIP members. Your support is truly appreciated. I cannot explain to you what it means for this community. Please consider joining our community. It's only 99 cents a month. I made it as low as possible so that we can get more and more people joining our community. Awesome member exclusive emojis in the chat during these Leafs games, and add your name to the scroll down below. Anyways, enough of the necessary evils to keep growing this amazing Toronto sports community and Maple Leafs community. Back to Leafs hockey. Go Leafs go. I'll see you guys in the chat. Peace.
But right now, they're middling right now. They're a middling hockey club.
The Power Play. Weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio. SiriusXM 91 and the SiriusXM app. 24/7 hockey talk.
One of the greatest goaltenders of all time. Patrick Waugh, when you put your hands up, did you know at that moment that you were done?
No, I did not. Unfortunately, it happened. Just gave me a chance to have a fresh start somewhere else and be traded to Colorado was a good opportunity. Sometimes you need that little, change, and it was welcome for me.
SiriusXM NHL Network Radio. SiriusXM 91 and on your schedule with the SiriusXM app. The Point with Boomer Gordon.
18 months ago, I had new Flyers head coach John Tortorella. And I asked him what he was worried about the club, and he said, I don't like the room. We have a bad room. And I'm like, you haven't even coached this team yet. A year and a half later, John Tortorella loves his room. He loves this team, and he loves that they compete every night.
Point with Boomer Gordon. 1 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91 and the SiriusXM app.
If you're a soccer fan, you know that this music means one thing. The Champions League is on Sirius XM FC.
Hat-trick for Erling Haaland. Kane scores!
The top teams from around Europe are battling for club soccer's holy grail.
Real Madrid do what they do best. What a start for Inter!
Hear all the top Champions League matches all tournament long on Sirius XM FC 157 and streaming on the Sirius XM app.
the biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind Ristolainen, walks in, put it between his legs, shoots it, score!
NHL play-by-play on SiriusXM.
And that should do it. Martin Jones, for the third time, will shut out the Pittsburgh Penguins in his career, and for the 29th time in his career, a whitewash for Martin Jones, but his first in a Leaf uniform.
Welcome back to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. It was a perfect night for the Toronto Maple Leafs in Kyle Dubas and Jason Spezza's return to Scotiabank Arena. The Maple Leafs beat the Pittsburgh Penguins 7-0. Seventh straight victory for Martin Jones over the Penguins, and he gets the shutout for the Maple Leafs tonight. It was a perfect night, and even the big guys got to basically watch most of it for the bench, at least in the third period. Maple Leafs, big winners tonight.
Well, a lot of people out there whose guys and girls are in minor hockey, this would have been the clock running straight time game. This absolutely would have been at 6. It really had that flavor, and the crowd derisively was starting a Dubas chant. It didn't really get going, but
didn't quite get there.
Not quite like the wave, but it just was one of those particular nights. What a terrible homecoming for him and Jason Spezza. Hey, of all things, you want to get picky? Why waste a great goaltending performance when you score 7 goals? And why score 7 goals when you get a great goaltending performance? I mean, that's how ridiculously picky you can get about it. That's just all from the puck drop, all cylinders firing. Everybody firing, a sense of confidence, a sense of speed, talent showing, a sense of balance for everybody. And that's why, to your point, why in the third period he could rest some of the star players, wanted to give the others some ice time, but everyone was playing at an excellent level.
Indeed, they were. It was a perfect night. All systems were firing from the crease on out. Let's go to the NHL scoreboard presented by Bet365. Visit the app for the latest odds and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus. Ontario only. Play responsibly. The Wild got a 2-1 victory this afternoon over the Vancouver Canucks. Jets beat the Avalanche tonight 6-2. Flyers blank the Red Wings 1-0. The Canadians hold on and get a 5-3 victory over the Islanders. The Devils double up the Blue Jackets 6-3. The Rangers eke one out over the Bruins 2-1 in overtime. It's 3-2. The Blues are leading the Stars after 2. The Predators are up 2-1 in the third over the Capitals. It is zeros at the end of the first period between the Sabres and Coyotes. And later on tonight, the Oilers will host the Panthers, the Flames will host the Lightning, and the Kraken will host the Kings. Leafs Talk with JD Bunkus and Sam McKee is next. Thanks for listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Yeah, and you got sour. You got hot under the collar.
I think the big difference for me, and I said it to you in text tonight, is that it was in Toronto. And I think the last time this happened was a really weird scheduling thing, coming off the Sweden trip, playing that 2:00 game in Chicago, second half of a back-to-back, not having enough time to tee it up. I don't know if just for whatever reason, the way the schedule hit last time just felt different to me.
But that's it, right? Is tonight felt like a big win for the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yeah, and they ran it up. They ran up the score. The Penguins looked terrible outside of some Sidney Crosby moments, and they just kept showing Dubas in the press box. And I got to tell you, every time they flashed to it, I'd be lying to everybody listening, everybody watching, if I didn't. I loved it. I loved every minute of this. Tonight was a cathartic event. I felt great at the end of it. It was a really, really enjoyable showing by the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Brother, it was great. It was phenomenal. Yes. If you don't love every minute of it, I think that it shows where your allegiances lie with Kyle Dubas. Just be like a LeBron fan who travels team to team with wherever LeBron goes. Like, I get it. It's fine to do that. But that was awesome. And credit to the Leafs, dude, because, we've criticized this team many a time for not showing up for some of these games or not starting on time, no attention to detail. And it's like, here they are, no Austin Matthews, no TJ Brody, their third string goaltender in net. And it's a Saturday night and the fans are hyped up for this game. And the Leafs came out and they just kicked ass start to finish. It was beautiful. Like attention to detail, good penalty killing, like good puck movement, just basically all night long. They battled for one another in front of the net. Like Benoit's mixing up with guys. Nyes is dropping the mitts for a teammate. It was really just like, I can't find a single flaw for the Leafs tonight. This might end up going too long because I got to say nice things about pretty much every guy.
Yeah, it's a tough one to criticize anything. I think you could, if you want to do criticizing, you can look at the Penguins
Yeah,
and just criticize them, because that's a team. I don't think they're at a crossroads. I think they blew past the crossroads. Like, they are old. All their guys are looking pretty washed up other than Sid. Erik Karlsson is a disaster, and that was a huge risk made by Kyle Dubas, and their power play is terrible, and all the guys that used to contribute, they're just a really tough-looking team, so that's who you can criticize tonight. You can criticize the Penguins, but as far as the Leafs go, I love the games when Matthews doesn't play sometimes, because you just get a different-looking team. Like, the getting Domi up in the top six and getting him to play with Marner and having all that part of it, and it feels like they do play a little harder when Matthews isn't there. I don't know. I feel like they have a pretty good record when he doesn't play. I feel, I anecdotally, I remember seeing it. They were pretty high above 500 when he doesn't play. It's because they have other good players, but it just feels like they do play a little bit of a different game, and they rallied around that tonight. You see that tweet, you're like, oh crap, Saturday night against Dubas and the Penguins, you want to be full strength. But I mean, to win 7-0 without one of your top pairing defensemen and your number one center is even more sweeter. Was even a bigger feather in the cap. So there's no way it could have been sweeter. And Martin Jones getting a shutout, who is the Treliving guy. Gregor getting a goal, Domi 3-point night, Bertuzzi 3-point night. Like, dude, let me lay it out. It's really, really hard for it to go any worse for Kyle Dubas than it went tonight. It is the number one nightmare scenario for him.
No Austin Matthews, a third string goalie in net getting a shutout as the goalie that he just gave a big contract to gets chased from the net.
Mm-hmm.
The depth of the Toronto Maple Leafs shows up all night long. Bobby McMann scores his first goal as a Maple Leaf, right? And he's a guy who, it was awesome. And I know, again, Dubas is hard in a lot of these guys, but still, you're figuring it out from a depth standpoint. The Leafs' depth showed up tonight, right? Gregor stepped up tonight. Their bottom six was awesome. The two guys that Tree Living brought in here, Bertuzzi, right? Gregor stepped up tonight. Their bottom six was awesome. The two guys that Tree Living brought in here, Bertuzzi and Max Domi, were arguably the team's two best players, right?
They're really good. Yeah.
It's really all these depth defensemen that are given, right?
They're really good. Yeah.
It's really all these depth defensemen that are giving Toronto a ton of minutes and a bunch of good play in Lagesson and Benoit. And you're looking at it and saying, damn, that's pretty nice. And so Tree Living's guys come through in massive ways in this hockey game, score a ton of points. It's just, this was great. I'm thrilled, dude, because I thought you buy a ticket to this game tonight, and it's a pricey one. That's a high event game, and the Leafs showed up, and again, they dominated. Good for them.
So the goal that the goal Domi scored off the rush from Martin Jones passing it up to Mitch Marner, who goes through the legs at the blue line to get it to Nyes with his skate, kicks it up, drop pass, and then the pump fake from that's as nice a goal as the Leafs have scored all year. Yeah. From your goalie who makes a 80-foot saucer pass on the tape through the legs, kick up, drop pass, pump fake in the net. Unbelievable goal. And I just thought Domi was buzzing, and I thought that there was a really good fit. Like, I know, it's a 1-game sample size, but to me, this line with Nyes and with Marner, it's something to me that you can look at again. That's something you can look at again. We got a smile on your face there. You talk about the London Knights. So
I was just going to say, you went to go see the London Knights last night.
Yeah, they snuck by my beloved attack 8-2. It was a close one.
You got a lot of London Knights content.
Right.
You got a lot of London Knights content for you.
There's it just makes me so happy to talk about the London Knight connection. I'm seeing, Luke Fox tweeting pictures of them wearing green out. I'm like, good God, this is sickening. I can never get away from it. It's it's getting chirped by old guys in London last night. It was just sitting there hammering a Bud Light.
You sound totally over it. You sound like you're not bitter about it at all.
No, not at all. But anyways, I actually do think that line, to me, I don't know if you go with it long term, but the way it looked, it's an option that he can have. It's an option if you want to go nuclear and really change up the lines with Matthews back, maybe do him with somebody else. That's something that you can really look at and know that it kind of worked tonight. I'd like another look, wouldn't you?
Here's what I would say. It's nice to know that you have it in a pinch, that you have the chemistry with Marner and with Domi. It's also nice having Marner, who's a really good defensive player, on the line as a bit of a security blanket with a Max, but not someone who completely detracts skill-wise, like some of the other guys that he would, potentially have to play with that help him out in that regard. But I just think it's it's a tough thing to think about long term because you want to be able to play Mitch Marner 23 minutes a night. And I don't know how you're going to accomplish that on a line with Domi come playoff time. Like, again, if this is all about for the playoffs, I don't think that Max Domi, you want playing more than, 13, 14 minutes a night at the very most. Like, that's the top end of it. So I liked it. I agree with you. I actually thought that it was pretty sexy tonight. How could you not? I completely agree with you about that goal. That goal really reminded me of just soccer, like a keeper kicking it up to somebody and then
transition.
Just like the quick little touch pass to the beautiful game.
Stunning.
Yeah. And then a class finish, it was very soccer.
Oh, that is class.
It was very class. It was very soccer. But I don't see a permutation of the team where all of a sudden Matthews has, like, who's Matthews playing with at that point, right?
Yeah,
like
I don't know. That's what I mean. That's why I said it was nuclear. Like you're like, if you're putting Matthews with two non-star guys, I don't know what you're doing. But then just knowing that line worked to me is enticing. And
for sure.
And I think if you're Keefe, it kind of opens your eyes to what Domi can do playing with some better players, right? Like he's just such a great facilitator. And the pass he makes on Nyes' first one here, this is such a great patient play. Like, stop up, puck down, right on the tape. This is a gorgeous goal from Nyes. Goes under the bar, backhand. Like, it's a really nice goal. But I like Max is really good in transition. He's really, really good in transition. He's a good connective player, like in the neutral zone. He makes good little touch passes, as we've talked about a million times. Addicted to saucer passes. It's his number one favorite thing to do. But it was Max's best game of the season. I'm not saying it's a hot take or anything, but I just love his connectivity. And I thought him playing with those two guys was pretty good. But can we talk about Nyes with the fight and the goal?
Yeah, sure.
Because I thought, he's been sick or whatever. And you know how, like, the first day when you've been sick and you just feel like not sick is the greatest day, when you're like finally getting over a flu or finally getting over a cold, and you just like that first day you're able to like do stuff. That was him on the first 3 shifts of this game. He was like, oh my God, goal, a fight for literally no reason. Like, it was just a nothing hit. Like, his stick came up on him a little bit, like not dirty at all. He's like, I'm fighting. I'm feeling good. Like, Gordie Howe hat trick. This is the exemplification of the first day of feeling better after being sick. This was this game.
I loved it. And I just love that he came in right away and just bull rushed it. Again, though, this was just a complete game from the entire team. You get fights, you got hits, you got good, clean cross checks in front of the net whenever the Penguins tried to come around. You get a shutout from your goaltender. Yeah, like, you get a ton of goal scoring all throughout the lineup where everybody's feeling good about themselves. I hope that they enjoy the Saturday night. But yeah, Nyes started the game really awesome. Like, that was great. That was a really, really great way for him to start, get the beautiful goal right away. And then, of course, the big fight. But you're talking about passing, and I really want to highlight something from this game, which is I still feel like we're getting to know Tyler Bertuzzi. Like,
yeah. I don't really feel like I know him yet. It's weird.
Yeah,
it's hard to explain. But I agree.
But it's like we're learning his game bit by bit by bit. And weirdly, like, the thing I feel most confident about was the stuff that he showcased tonight, which is that he's a really good playmaker. When he came to Toronto, it was all about, hey, this guy he's got ugly style. He looks like a hockey player and he plays like a hockey player. He's not afraid to go down the corners. He's not afraid of the front of the net, and he can finish. And you went, hell yeah. And I don't remember reading or seeing anything about how elite his playmaking ability is. Like, look at some of the passes that he makes in this game. Like, just little short passes in tight spaces, and he's got his head up. He's looking for teammates. He can take contact and finish a play. I think if there was one defining characteristic that he's actually had consistently throughout his Leafs tenure, it's been this. Like, look at that. It's gorgeous.
Nice pass. Brings it inside as he's falling, goes back. God, he just, like,
for those of you listening on the podcast, this is a Gregor goal where he has a nice little backhand tap pass to him.
That net guard is absurd. Like, that's the biggest net guard in NHL history. Like, I like that he's wearing it, but
no,
like,
he's trying so hard to just have the ugliest style. At this point, it's actually reached the point with the net guard where you're like, okay, buddy, we get it. Like, you got the ugliest skates, you got the teeth, you got the hair. Like, you're trying so hard to be ugly.
It's true. Like, he must like cut his hair and shave, and like, he's just like a 10 out of 10. He's like a movie star with bad haircuts. He's like trying to test the limits of how ugly he can be.
Maybe that's it. It's a test to see if a guy goes out in the town in Toronto and he's a Leafs player, is pick up no matter what, because he's probably wears the neck guard to the bar.
He's a case study in it. Yeah. No, I'm really feeling like he's a guy that once we get to playoffs, everyone's going to fall in love. Like, we had a slow start with him here in the fans and kind of being on him. And he got into a little whipping boy territory, right? Remember that with him getting benched by Keefe and Keefe being like, it's because he couldn't listen to simple instructions, basically is what he said. Like, he was killing him. He was pissed off when he had his tirade on the bench there a few weeks ago. He was screaming in Bertuzzi's ear. I think we flirted with some whipping boy stuff with him. And I think people are starting to like him a little bit, but I think it's going to go to another level when we get to the playoffs. It just seems to me that he's like a playoff type guy. And we saw him last year, obviously, with Boston. I think he might go to another level, and that's when like the fans will really jump on. But a nice night for him tonight for sure.
Yeah, really, really nice night. Just liked in general, again, the amount of block shots that the team had. They had a bunch of them, like when they were on the penalty kill. Yeah, like Connor Timmins stepped in front of one. Yeah, I think Liljegren stepped in front of one. There was a few guys on the team tonight where, they were just really eating pucks. This is just like, to me, this team is what gets you excited. A game like this is what gets you excited about the Leafs. And I know the Penguins stink because, the general manager built a team that has no depth. Killed Sid's final year of his career. It's really tough. But, outside of that, oh, dude. I was actually, it's funny. They could never trade Sid because he's, a legend, and you can't. Unless he just asked out, but I don't think that he would do that anyways. But I was trying to think about how, impossible it would be for so many different levels of like, what's the return you get? How much would you have to give up? If you're Pittsburgh, you're trading for somebody who, is now the guy you traded for Sidney Crosby, which is like a death knell for their career in Pittsburgh. Yeah, exactly. Like, it's impossible. And I really don't think it'll ever be a reality. But I did have a little tinge of sadness of just thinking, man, I really hope Sid's career just doesn't end with these kind of teams where they're just in a full rebuild mode. Yeah.
Like it feels like, and they're not really in a rebuild because they got like the Burke, and who was the general manager with Burke? Was it Hextall, right?
Hextall, yeah. They
gave Malkin and Letang those terrible contracts at the end. Mm-hmm. Remember with the last year when Sid was made the call, put in the call, and Sid, I guess, owns some blame in this because they were going to let him walk, and Sid, quote unquote, put in the call. And I think he's on for 5 or 4 more years after this one, Letang, and Malkin, and both of them, they just don't have it anymore. Like, Gino is legitimately as close to washed up as he can get. Like, he's really not the same guy. He's entering his CSKA Moscow era where he's going to head back over there soon and go play over there. You can picture him playing for, Moscow or playing for one of those teams or the Dynamo or whatever they're called.
Metalgursk or what?
No, he'll be playing in one of the big cities, but you can see that happening.
I thought that was his team.
Yeah. Maybe it is. It could be. I don't know which one it is, but anyways, I'm just saying, I don't know what they're going to do and what direction. You just traded for Erik Karlsson. You don't do that. I guess you're trying to squeeze the last little bit out of Sid's career or whatever, but he's still so good and he's skating so well. And I know he wasn't great tonight. Obviously, nobody on their team was good. I think he may have even been a -3 or -4 tonight. But I don't know. I guess that's why they're paying the big smart guy $7 million a year to figure it out. But boy, they're in trouble right now.
It's so funny and it's so fun to do.
It's true, man.
I know it is.
They paid him so much money.
Yeah, I know.
And it's what I get it. He's perceived as one of the smart guys, but he was a good enough general manager here. But the way this guy's reputation precedes him, it's insane.
No, I just dude, again, if you look at the moves, it's best moves he made are counteracted by moves that were worse.
Yes.
It is what it is. But anyway, last thing for me, anyways, on the game, big picture stuff was the Pens threw a bunch of shots on net. They were really never overly threatening, right? I think Jones made a couple of pretty good saves tonight, but he was really just what they need again, man. Solid, calm, big.
Yeah. Sort of cut you off, but Joe Bo just put in our chat, Malkin's getting 6.1 until 25-26, and Letang is 6.1 until 27-28.
Yeah, cap going up is going to make those not as bad. But I think it was pretty clear that both those guys, they were in a really tough spot. I'm not as down on Letang, I think, as you are. And I'm also not as down on...
Didn't like him tonight. Karlsson. They haven't been good all year.
where it's like Karlsson's got like, he's still around a point a game, and his expected goals for is actually like, it's like 58%, 60%. I was looking at it the other day. But yeah, I think that it's the depth. They really, Kyle Dubas, his whole calling card was that he was supposed to be able to like go and